Okay, we're live.
Da-da-da-da.
Woo, intro music. Cool. Okay. I've also never played D&D with the lights on, but I need to be able to see, and this is weird.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. You
Don't
should
like
get
it.
maybe get like a book light.
I have a lot, but yeah. It's, as you can see, the setup is not set up.
Mm.
It's just, yeah,
You've got a
not going
support
along.
group and a T-Rex and a bear behind you, so that's
Mhm.
good.
And your costume,
I see that.
and a whole bunch of really helpful stuff. My costume, everything I need to get done before September.
You got a map of
Mhm.
Skyrim just in case we need to go to Skyrim.
That's my secret, is that's really where the whole
That's
setting is Skyrim.
snow, snow, snow.
There's not snow in Whiterun. If you go far enough south, you're fine.
Yeah, but it's Whiterun. It's boring.
True.
The most interesting part about it is the bandit cave that's right under the city, and that's just so cliche and predictable that it's like, yeah, okay. Then it's like,
Okay.
yeah, let's go to Dawnstar, and it's like, oh, that's this place sucks.
Yeah, all of it pretty much sucks. I like Riften because that's where all the thieves people live, but
Yep. Anyway,
that's about it. Okay,
sure.
now that we're done with our Skyrim review.
Exactly.
Okay. Also, I'm really bad at reading off of paper. So, like, I'm just setting myself up for failure by having this, and then adding like alcohol. It's just, this might be terrible.
You need
Maybe.
like a third screen with like a video prompt.
I really do.
That way you've just got it scrolling in front of you.
I just need somebody else like reading things for me.
Hmm.
Like I'll do the improv part, somebody else do the reading.
Just whisper in their ear, like, no, say this.
Yes. Cass, come here. Read things. I also have to make sure I don't accidentally read stuff that's written for other characters in this, because I basically wrote it out uh like a campaign guide,
Oh, okay.
where if you do one thing, I have the thing in there.
So multicolored highlighters are your best
Oh,
friend.
there, it's different color text. It's a craziness. Okay. Yours is also the only one that has a long ass intro because you are the one that gave me your shit the longest ago. So I had the most time to prepare. All right. I'm having like high school reading out loud flashbacks. The trauma. Okay.
Start with the first paragraph.
No, I don't want to. I can't read. Go ahead and read. I'm reading blind. I am going to make this bigger text so I can fucking see it though, because I am really actually blind. Okay, 10 minutes in. We're finally getting this shit started. Okay, one more question before I actually start. How are you
Sure.
pronouncing your deity's name?
Uh, Reorx?
Okay,
Reorx?
because I wasn't sure if I should pronounce it Reorex or Reorx.
Or John?
John. John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith.
Roy?
Roy. Okay.
I wonder how that's actually pronounced. I don't think I've bothered to look that up.
Is the X like LaCroix? Is it supposed to be Roy?
Maybe.
Roy? Ria Roy?
Uh,
Forge God? We're going to call it Forge God. You'd think I would have looked that up, but I did not either. Because I had.
yeah. Okay, come on. Interesting. It is a French word. Um, or maybe not. Maybe it's just giving me bullshit.
I wonder if it's in D&D Beyond. Because they have a pronunciation guide for monsters and gods and stuff.
Ah.
Let's look. Glad we're doing this live on the internet.
Yeah, this is a good start.
If only there was an easy way to edit YouTube videos.
There's a pronunciation guide, which maybe will have something. No, I don't want to log in. Fuck off. Holy fuck. Why does every site have to have like this big ass fucking lead up to like, I made this site because blah 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 blah. Nobody fucking cares.
Because we live in the age of attention.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe. No, it's not there. All right. It's got every other fucking thing, but so far, not what I need. Oh. Nope.
According to this Dragonlance pronunciation archive, it's pronounced like roar, R-O-A-R, with a K-S at the end, so Rorks.
Rorks. Okay. That works.
Thanks, DragonlanceForums.com.
Rorks.
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 Yep. That's what we're going with. So the internet told us. Don't at me, comment.
The internet is
looking at you, Paula.
never wrong. You can't post lies on the internet. That's been established.
Sure, we'll go with that. Okay. Kind of like I've said, I'm starting 6 times now.
Now we're really starting.
I'm just like mildly nervous because I made all this shit up, so if it sucks, it's completely on me.
Yeah, you can't blame anybody.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, fuck the guy that wrote this shit. Oh wait, that's me. My bad. Okay.
This is fucking terrible.
Yep, that's another reason I'm doing you first. So you can be like, Jenna, I'll be straight with you. That was the worst. And then I'll be like, fine, Brian, you're DMing again.
Fine, you run something. God
Yeah.
damn it. Not again.
No, if it sucks that bad, I literally have Princess of the Apocalypse. I will start running that shit.
All right.
Okay.
Fair.
I thought about doing that anyway, just so I didn't have to do my own thing, but I've made promises at this point.
You're in too deep.
I'm in way too deep. It's like the mob. I can't get out.
Yep.
Break my knees. All right.
So.
Actually, go ahead and start now. Stop giggling. You're not helping.
In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit.
But that's not this story.
Okay.
This story is about you, motherfucker.
Oh no.
Prepare to participate. Okay. Setting it up. After leaving the Free Company, you'd had thoughts of going home, although after everything you'd seen, who could say what home was these days? At first, you'd gone back to the forge where you'd learned your trade, trying to take yourself back to a simpler time, but unfortunately, your time in the world and the things you had seen had made it hard for you to find peace in that place. When you set out on your journey, you had no clear destination in mind, instead focused on the good you could do and accomplish on your way. Over months, you found yourself traveling village to village. There's dogs in the background. Thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, village effects.
Helping the local smiths of the towns, still haggard by the drow uprisings across the country. Most of the cities were handling on their own, but smaller villages in the outskirts weren't prioritized by the upper class. None of the people you'd helped asked you to fight for them, despite the handful that noticed the boar on your arm. Life had taught them that to take help when offered, but not to expect more, because it always comes at a cost. They were grateful for the aid that you provided, forging nails and hinges for the people to repair and fortify their homes, while the other smiths focused on weapons as a priority. When you started having dreams of a great forge, you thought that perhaps you'd spent too many hours of the day looking into the flames, the ringing of the hammer striking soft metal haunting your sleep. When the dreams persisted night after night, the hopeful part of you wanted to see it as a sign from your deity, but the part of you that had seen the world that you lived in kept insisting it was only a dream. When you left Joran Village, you headed north, despite the map not showing any cities in that direction. As far as you were concerned, there was a path in that direction, so you would take it. So, you're headed north outside of Joran Village, going wherever that path will take you.
All right. How do I spell that village name?
Jorun. Actually, I think there's two N's. It's on the map that I will give you.
All right. So I'm on foot.
Yes.
I don't have like a pack mule or anything.
Mm-mm. Keeping it simple.
All right. Just lugging a bunch of shit. All right.
You're a strong, healthy dwarf. You can do it.
So is it? It's like a foresty, wooded area, or what have I got around me? Should I
It's
make a
mostly
check?
it's forested. It's not a well-traveled path. It's probably wide enough for a cart, a dirt path. It heads into the mountains, but you're not quite in the mountains yet.
Okay. So let's start off with burning the forest down because I think
Uh-huh.
that's the easiest way to see where I need to go.
Okay.
No.
Roll for fire. Oh, you have no flint. You were pickpocketed in Joran.
Damn
Weird.
it.
It's really
All right.
unfortunate.
I want to at least make a perception check as I'm walking around just to see like what's around me. Maybe just take in the the piece of being alone, kind of on a journey
Okay.
and dealing with his troubles. That is a oh yeah, I forgot D&D Beyond is my thing. I'm like, where's my character sheet? It's on my computer. Um, that is going to be a 14.
Okay. With 14, you see that there are some wagon tracks that lead up the path. Compared to other dirt paths you've been on, even more remote ones, this one's not very well traveled, which kind of makes you think the people in the village were like being honest as far as they knew to why are you going there.
Hmm.
Um, but there is enough evidence that it's traveled to reassure you that there will be something at the end of this path. There are animal tracks kind of off the path. You can tell that it's people come through here rarely enough that animals aren't completely avoiding the area. Um,
Okay.
but it doesn't seem like there's a fork off in either direction for at least as far as you can see.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna keep trucking on ahead then.
I'm going
With
to
it.
have you roll a d4.
All right. That's a 1.
Okay. So just keep on walking. I know. So
It's a
much fun. We're officially in
beautiful
Lord of the
day in the
Rings. This
woods.
is we're officially in the Lord of the Rings part where it's just a lot of walking and nothing's happening.
You see a field and a farmer, and you steal all his crops.
He
Then
flips
run
you
into
off
your
and
old,
starts talking about potatoes.
run into your old pals who have just robbed him. Like fuck, that was a great start.
Rude.
All right, so yeah, like think while he's walking, he's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna see where this goes, but it's kind of weird that it's not more traveled. Like
Alrighty.
if it gets me lost, then whatever. It's not like I have a whole lot of things going on at the moment.
As you keep walking, you can roll me a perception check.
Right. That's an 18.
Alright, with an 18, before you see anything in the path, you hear some twigs breaking and some shuffling in the brush over to your left, and you can tell that whatever it is, it's bigger than like a squirrel or something small. It's something big enough that you should probably be keeping an eye out for it.
And it's off to my left somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to like cautiously. Oh, here's a question. So, what am I equipped with? Is this like before I become a cleric? Because that's what the setup sounds like. So,
You are already a cleric. You're like base essentials,
okay,
so you'll still have your basics.
all right.
Um, what level did I have you? make your character at?
You started me at 20, which I thought was a bold move.
Oh, that seems. That must have been a typo. I think I meant 2, not 20.
Nope. It says right here, start at level 20.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell Jenna. Or
Mm-hmm.
no, I think that says don't tell, Jenna. So that was obviously a note left from you. All right. So hearing that, I'm going to like shift my bag around and like unlimber my shield, like get that strapped to my arm and have my hammer like at the ready and just cautiously move forward while paying attention to the left. Maybe stick closer to the right side of the road
Okay,
in
if you're
case I need
actually
to.
paying attention to where the sound came from, go ahead and roll investigation.
Investigation. Not my best. Whew. So that's a natural 1, and I've got a -1, so even worse.
Okay, so you don't see the large creature that is coming towards you then. With your perception check, you still see that there is a large creature in the distance. You just can't identify what it is, but you can see that
It's just more of like I hear something in the trees. I don't want to find out what the fuck that is. Holy shit, it's coming this way, sort of thing.
with a sum total of 0 investigation. You're pretty sure that might be a dragon.
It's fucking
You're not sure if forest dragons are a thing,
an ancient forest dragon.
but you don't want to find out.
All right. Yeah, so with that, hearing something big, I want to move to the other side of the road and possibly have like my back to a tree so it can't come around on me.
Okay, I'm also going to have you roll a stealth check if you're going to try to get by unnoticed.
Well, I mean, it's coming for me already, right?
It's not coming at you. It's just
It's
it's
just off.
close to the road. Like maybe it's used to when people do come by getting an easy snack, but it hasn't really. It's not actively coming your direction yet. Yet being the
Okay.
operative word.
So I need to double check something.
Well, I rolled perception for the animal, so I rolled a natural 20. So if you want to still fight that, you go for it.
Oh boy. I just can't remember if I have disadvantage on stealth because I have heavy armor on.
It depends what kind of armor.
What kind of armor do I have? You also got to put up with me not having used D&D Beyond before.
That's fine. That's also what session zeros are for.
Okay, so I've got heavy armor and plate, so that is disadvantage to stealth. So, man, it's not terrible. That's an 11.
Okay, well, with an 11, the bear that rolled a natural 20 sees you.
Okay.
And he doesn't really come at you in an attack. He just kind of lumbers out from the tree line, kind of looking at you like, you food?
Yeah, so I'm gonna stand with my shield up and like my hammer at the ready, but not making any aggressive move, and I'm just gonna start doing what they always tell you to do and like make some noise and just be like, move along, bear. Nothing good worth eating here.
All right, roll. Yeah, roll a intimidation check.
Not an animal handling.
Nope. Not
Well,
unless you want to go handle that animal.
you don't know what I want to do.
And thus began the story of Torgud Bearfucker.
You know you never fucked a bear. So that's a 14.
Okay. So the bear just kind of it stands up on his back legs, trying to get a better look at you. And whenever you raise your shield and say, oh, "There's nothing worth eating here, bear," it just kind of lowers itself down and does that sideways, like I'm watching you, but I'm going back over here because I don't know what you are, but you're short and stocky, and I don't know if I want to fuck with you. So It's just gonna it's not going back in the woods, it's just kind of walking along the path in the direction it was going, sort of away from you. It's
Okay.
walking towards Joran.
All right. So I'm going to just patiently wait for it to be out of sight before I move on, because I don't want to turn my back, and then I'm going to say, well, I hope those villagers don't get eaten by that thing.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, nothing good's, yeah, or nothing bad, I should say, will ever happen from a bear wandering towards a village.
No, never. Not
It's
even a little.
You're fine.
I'm sure they've handled a bear before.
So once it's out of sight, I'll put my shield back on my back and start
Alrighty.
walking back up
And
the
for
trail.
the sake of not walking for an hour, because this is not a Lord of the Rings movie, I'm gonna have you roll a d12
Okay.
and roll a perception check.
D12. That's a 5. And that is a 17 plus. Oh, that's a non-natural 20 perception.
Okay. So you keep walking for what did you say your d12 was? A 5?
Yep.
Okay. You keep walking, resting, enjoying nature, wondering why it's so goddamn quiet in this place for
Is it
5 days.
is it quiet in the way that there's not like a whole lot of forest noise, like birds are quiet,
No,
etc.?
there's nature
Okay.
sounds. It's not creepy quiet. It's relaxing quiet.
Oh, okay.
And it's been a while since you've been outside of a city or a village, so it's a pleasant change of pace. It's just weird to have gone this far without seeing people.
Okay.
After day 2, you did start to feel like somebody was maybe watching you, but you haven't seen anyone.
Okay.
So you weren't really sure about that. But you do see somebody walking towards you down the road.
All right. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything aggressive yet, but I want to like keep an eye on them as they're walking towards me.
Okay, roll. Yeah, let's say just do perception.
Okay. 18.
All right, with an 18, you see from pretty far off that it seems to be one person walking in front of a cart
Okay.
and maybe another person riding on the cart. Neither of them seem heavily armored. Um, they have just basic leathers, and the guy walking does have a short sword, but it's just in his scabbard. He's not prepared for a fight or anything.
Okay. Well, seeing that they're in a cart, I'll move to the side of the road and like how far away are they for now?
Right now, probably about 70 yards.
Okay.
It's a pretty straight path at this point, so.
Yeah, so I'm going to make sure they see me clearly, but I'm going to make room for them as is appropriate. And whenever they get close enough, I'll call out to them and try to find out like what's ahead of me and warn them about the bear, that
Alrighty.
sort of thing.
So as they get close, the one walking ahead just kind of tips his hat to you, doesn't really say anything.
All right, good day. What lies ahead of me down this road? It heard there was a city or a town, but it doesn't seem very busy.
Aye, it's busy once you get there.
All right. Well, there's a bear down the road, so keep your wits about you. It wasn't too aggressive towards me, but you never know.
All right, thanks for the heads up. Oh, speaking of heads up, have you ever been to this city before?
Nope.
All right, well, there's some things you need to know, and his voice just kind of fades off a little bit, and he goes, he looks at his friend, and he goes, "There's something about the bird. There's a bird. Do you remember what was important about the bird?"
I've
And it,
heard it's the word.
and his friend goes, "Ah, yeah, the bird at the crossroads. Yes, that one." And they both just kind of look at each other like that's the answer to all their problems, but you're just more confused than anything because they really gave you no useful information with this, but you feel
So
like it's really important to them to share this information with you.
A bird. Well, you've been most helpful, and I'll carry your words with me the rest of the way. I. So where are you guys headed? How about?
We're headed for the trade post. There's a
Well,
trade post on the southern side of Joran. I swear
okay,
I will get you this map. I just
sure.
haven't sent it.
What you selling?
Well, mostly we deal in food. Oh, that reminds me, the bird, and he hands you a loaf of bread.
Uh, thanks. Hmm, this. What is this bird?
Ah, you'll see, you'll see.
All right. Well, this looks like delightful bread.
I'm gonna have you roll. What check would this be?
And are these like humans?
Yeah, they're. One of them is a half elf. The one walking is a human.
Okay.
Let's see. Roll. I'll say roll Arcana or Religion since your magic is religion based.
Okay. Yeah, Arcana is not a good idea.
That's why
Um,
I gave you both. I know normally a cleric's one is shit.
so I've got a +1 in religion, and I rolled a 19, so that's a
Okay.
non-natural 20. I have got this shit down. I've been
Okay.
reading the good book.
So with that, you know that sometimes places, people, things, if they have a strong enough magic about them and they don't want to be found, they'll have a glamour
Hmm.
effect that if someone wants to tell you about them, they're not able to, even if they want to.
Okay, so I'm sensing that kind of
Yeah,
glamour.
you're getting the idea that this person is genuinely trying to be helpful, but the information that would be helpful is something he's not allowed to say.
Hmm.
So he's doing his best. He
All
thinks
right.
that the bird information is very detailed from his perspective.
I was going to say, you've got kind of a magical glamour on you that makes you just keep saying bird.
You don't say.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your helping me. If we need to like go back down the road till you can talk correctly, I don't really want to go back there. There's a bear. Um, but I appreciate the bread and wish you safe travels.
You look
Perhaps
like a smart boy. I think you'll figure it out when you get there.
I hope so. Uh,
Torgud's just looking for
just
birds the rest of the time.
just like so confused. All right, well, good day, and I'm gonna start walking again.
All right. So you keep walking.
Humans are fucking
You keep walking, and the path gets kind of curvy for a while to the point where you feel like it's where you've started to reach a steeper incline, so they've
weird.
had to
Okay,
make the path kind of a
like,
switchback.
oh boy,
Yeah. So your
should have
your
should have
your
got a
dwarf
donkey.
stature's not really enjoying that part too much, but you're getting there.
Just like looking at it, like, would it be easier to just cut straight up the side?
You can try.
Then I'm just like, my hammer's heavy, my shield's heavy, I'm in armor. Traveling this way wasn't a good idea. But I mean, he's in decent shape, so he's just going to stick it
It's
out.
one of those, even though you're in good shape, if you're going hiking, once you get to a certain point, you're like, fuck this noise.
Yeah, it's like the Grand Canyon. Going
All right.
down's easy, coming up
Roll
sucks.
roll perception at disadvantage just because you're not really paying that much attention to what's around you as much as you're trying to just get up this damn mountain at this point.
Yeah, so that's a 6.
Okay. You don't see anything.
Yeah, just settling into the motions. It's like being back on the march. You just fall in step and keep going.
All right. So you keep walking, and towards the end of that day, off in the distance, you can see where the road has straightened out again, and you can see a crossroads. And it's starting to get dark, but you notice that the crossroads doesn't have signage pointing to which way does what. It's just if you don't know where you're going, you're fucked, basically.
All right. So whenever I get there, I'm gonna start looking for a bird
Okay.
because it's like, well, they said bird like a dozen times,
Roll.
and maybe I'll even like kind of sit at the edge of the crossroad and nibble on that bread while I'm looking for a bird.
Okay. When you get within, let's say, 30 feet of the crossroads, give me a wisdom save.
Oh, shit. I don't know if I'm good at that. Oh, okay. I am good at that. That is a 15.
Okay. So, you wake up the next morning to
All
the
right.
sound of a songbird on the tree above you. As you peek one eye open, you see it on a branch close by. You don't remember having fallen asleep or making camp, but there seemed to be a small burnt out fire in front of you, and your bedroll is laid out. So you sit
Where's
up and you try to get your bearings.
where's that loaf of bread?
It's in your pack or wherever you put it.
All right, I'm gonna
It's
start.
on your person still.
I'm gonna start thinking. Last thing I remember is I had a piece of that and then I passed out. That's strange. Can I see what this bird's all about? Because it's noisy.
Roll a perception check first.
All right. No, 19.
Okay. With a 19, as you look around you, you see that there's evidence where animals came up in the night, kind of sniffing around, some being curious, but none of them seem to have bothered you. You see bear tracks. It left you alone. You are somehow perfectly safe in the night.
Well, that's
Um,
terrifying.
the bird keeps singing and hops on a branch lower, trying to get a good look at you, and it seems to be trying to decide if you're friendly.
I'm just going to look at it curiously and hold up some of the possibly drugged bread that I have.
Okay.
Like tear off a
Um,
husk and be like, that's all I got.
Alrighty. So the bird hops down on the ground and does the little bird hops towards you. It takes a piece of bread from your hand if you're offering it.
Yep.
And it eats it and kind of does that head cock that birds do, like, all right. And then you're not 100% sure because you're still a little confused about the circumstances, but you could have sworn that that bird winked at you.
I'm gonna look at the bread again. And then look back at the bird.
So when you look back at the bird looks from you to the bread, back at you.
I'll set the loaf down in front of it.
All right. When you set the loaf down, the bird hops up to it, and in a blink, the bird is gone, and a small, tan gnome woman sits crouched in its place, holding the bread, her head tilted to the side in the same gesture the bird had been giving you. She's wearing a couple of scraps of cloth and carries no weapons that you can see. When she opens her mouth to speak, a soft chirp that sounds like the bird comes out before she clears her throat and keeps talking in common.
Can I do a medicine check?
Yes, you can.
See if I'm high.
Yes, you can.
All right. That's a 16.
You are not high.
All
And
right.
if you want to make a meta Brian perception check, uh, this is where Lily came from. I had this NPC written before we ran Days of Blight,
Oh, wow.
so this is Lily.
Okay, so this is. That's a shitty perception, so I don't quite know Lily, but I'm going to look very confused and just go, uh, well, good morning.
So she has a big mouthful of bread now, and she goes, "Hello, traveler. Not many come past that are as kind as you, and I think this earns you a favor in trade. Would you like to get where you're going a little bit faster? I know all the fastest ways as the crow flies."
Do I have to literally fly? Because I can't. You were a bird a minute ago.
Yeah, I can do that. I don't think you
Okay.
can do that. Can you do that?
No, I can't.
Oh.
I saw a bear once, but
Was he
um,
like a little bear, a big bear?
it was kind of big, and then it left. It was. It was
I
all
think
right.
he was probably just a bear. It wasn't me. I've been a bird for like at least a week now.
What's that like?
Um, you know, it's not bad, but sometimes things try to eat you.
I'm sure. Even when you're, a dwarf covered in armor, sometimes things try to eat you too. And he
It
gives kind
happens.
of like a involuntary shiver at the thought of that. Well, yeah, I heard there's a city up ahead, even though
Oh,
doesn't seem like there's much foot traffic. That's
yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
headed.
yeah. There's all kinds of people up there. You just have to know where you're going. You want to know a secret because you gave me bread, so I'll tell you.
Sure.
So, this crossroads, not really even a crossroads. If you go this way, you just come in a circle and come right back here to me.
Well, that sounds pretty handy for defense, but why are you master of the crossroads? You're not a demon, are
Well,
you?
the elves don't even really know I'm here, but lost people are stupid and sometimes they drop shinies.
If I bring a guitar back here, will you teach me how to play the blues?
I don't know how to play a guitar or what blues is.
All
I
right,
can
you're not a
turn.
demon, so I trust you.
Well, you should know if I'm a demon with that bauble around your neck, and she points to your holy symbol.
He's gonna clutch it and laugh. He says, "Yep, you're definitely not a demon. That's the first thing they teach you, blues."
Oh, I don't know what that is still, but I have seen that before. It's in the
Mm.
city.
Think you froze.
Oh no.
Oh, there you are.
Okay,
Or did I freeze?
I don't know. Maybe the internet hates us both. Basically,
Maybe.
she was just saying that she has seen your symbol before in the Elven City.
Have you seen it? Just like another little trinket like this, or
No, it's very big. It's in stones.
is it part of like a building? Maybe.
It may be on the outside of a building. I don't really stay in the city that much. I just remember seeing it once.
Well,
It
if
looked
if
it looked very old.
if you would take me there, I'd be much in your debt.
Okay, I guess. Only because you gave me some bread. You don't have any more of that, do you?
That was the one loaf I had, and some kind travelers gave it to me.
Oh, the people with the wagon, they're very nice.
Yeah, I hope they don't get eaten by the bear.
I don't think they'll get eaten by the bear.
Yeah, they seemed
Probably.
very kind. But I'll tell you what, once we get to wherever we're going, I'll be happy to buy another loaf of bread.
That would be nice. Bread is pretty good. Worms are okay when you're a bird, but like after a couple days, you're like, "Ah, this tastes like dirt. I really like bread. And you don't have bread as a bird, you can't really like make it.
Yeah, I
But
haven't seen too many birds with bakeries.
that would be really cool if there was one, though. But like, probably no one would buy it from them because people think birds are gross sometimes.
Yeah, you come from some of the cities down that way, and kind of points vaguely behind him. It's just like there's just pigeons everywhere,
What's a pigeon?
everywhere. It's just a nasty bird. Sky rats, we call them there.
Okay, I don't want to be one of those. Those sound
No, they
gross.
don't. They don't sing. They're ugly. They don't taste that great because they're eating trash and shit.
Well, I guess I can show you where you need to go. Because
All right.
you've been nice, and sometimes people aren't very nice. One person walked around in circles like 7 or 8 times before they thought to ask me for directions. Psh, I was just sitting here the whole time.
I honestly thought I was high.
I mean, I get that, I guess.
Yeah, I passed out after nibbling on some of that bread.
Oh,
Woke up disoriented. It
that
was.
may have been me, not the bread. Sorry.
Oh, all right.
Sometimes people in armor come and they're not very nice, and sometimes I panic and make them go to sleep.
Yeah, I thought about traveling without the armor. Probably would have been smart to do, but you never can be
Well,
too
I mean, if
careful.
you didn't have the armor, what might have happened with that bear? You don't know.
Yeah, could have been bad. The bear got
Never
aggressive. I
be
can't
too careful.
can't outrun it. I'd be a tasty meal for a bear.
As someone who can be a bear, it's very hard to get the armor.
That's what I imagined. Well, shall
Oh,
we?
yeah, speaking of which, and she turns into a horse and just
It's
kind of
just
looks at
like,
you like, come on.
just gives that long blink, like, this is strange. All right, you're sure you can carry all this weight? And he's, all right. Is there a saddle or just
Nope,
bareback horse?
it's just a horse.
How big a horse?
It's a draft horse.
All right. Can you move closer to like a rock that I can climb up on?
She'll do the circus horse thing where she kind of does that kneel down.
All right, I'm gonna try to get up on this
Okay,
horse.
acrobatics check. Acrobatics or athletics, whichever is.
All right. Well, I mean, my athletics is better, but
Because athletics is like brute strength, so you're like gonna grab onto the mane and like pull yourself up. She might not be too happy about it, but
I'll try to.
she knows you're struggling.
I'll go for acrobatics just because it'll be more fun. I rolled a 2.
Okay, so you put your foot up on her bent leg to try to get some leverage, and you push really hard to get up there, but you kind of overshoot and you roll over on the other side of the horse.
Just with a thunk.
If a horse could laugh, that's the sound you'd be hearing right now.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not used to riding anything. It's more used to marching.
Okay.
Would it be better if I didn't wear my armor right now?
She just looks at you like, it's up to you.
I'll walk.
Okay, she will walk beside you as a horse, which cuts down on the conversation, but it's easy going.
Yep.
So you walk through the crossroads. You remember that at the crossroads you take a right, so the next time if she's not there, you know that right is the correct direction.
Okay.
And as you approach this, the trees start to thin out, the land starts to level out, and everything tells you you should be nearing civilization, but you don't see a city ahead of you. The road is more traveled at this part. Um, and you come around the bend of the dirt road and you see a large flat stone propped up vertically with an empty fire pit in front of it, but no city.
I'm gonna turn to the horse. So, how much further is the city? And you're a horse. You can't talk.
She'll turn back into her whenever you ask her a question that needs
No.
more than a yes or no answer.
All right. So the city up ahead. How far is it? Because I'm not seeing anything. You can smell that there's a city up ahead. They've got that wonderful
Shit smell?
civilized. Yes.
Yeah.
Um. But
So
I
she
don't
looks
see
at
anything.
you and she says, "Well, this part I can't help you with, but I can tell you that it's probably in your best interest to make camp here and light the fire, if you know what I mean." And she just winks and turns into a wolf and wanders into the woods.
What a strange person. All right. So I'll go up to where that stone is in the fire pit, and I
And
want
it
to.
has taken you all day to walk this far. I just didn't
Yeah,
feel
I
like going
imagine
through
so.
that.
Step by grueling step. So I want to investigate that fire pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roll. It's a pretty low DC, so just roll investigation.
All right, 12.
Okay, that'll work. So you see that the fire pit is kind of dug out and it's close enough to the vertical stone that there are char marks on the stone from where fires have been lit there before.
Okay.
It looks fairly well used. There doesn't seem to be anything inherently magic about it. Like it's not giving off any kind of vibe that it's gonna like blow up in your face if you light a fire or anything.
All right.
Um, but it just seems like a decorative fire pit.
Okay. Well, I will kind of set up my bedroll in my camp, and then I'll bust out my tinderbox and light a fire there.
Alrighty. Mm-mm-mm. Once the fire is lit and burning for a few hours, you start to notice that the rock behind it, in the dark and with the fire, there's parts of the rock are reflecting the light from the fire. So roll. Let's do investigation again.
All right. That is an 18.
Okay. You notice that if you walk to like the left or the right, the parts reflecting seem to line up and make letters. And the first words that you make out seem to be in Elvish. A couple might be Sylvan, but as you keep walking, you notice that some of the words are written in Dwarven, which is not what you expected in a Elvish city.
All right. I'm going to get to where I can see those clearly and try to read them.
Okay. I won't make you roll for that because you rolled high enough on your
I
figuring
know
out
my
how to.
letters.
You know your words and numbers. Okay, so it says, "Light a fire, rest by night. Come dawn, walk towards the morning light."
Okay.
So it seems pretty straightforward.
So walk west first thing in the morning, away from the sun.
Yes, definitely away from the sun. That's totally what that meant.
All right. So
I assume, being a smart person, you're not going to try to like touch the hot rock or anything.
but being him, he's going to stare at those words and go, I had to light a fire to see the letters. Do I need to light another fire?
If you try to set the forest on fire, Lily's gonna come out as Smokey the Bear and whoop your ass.
He's just
So
staring at the rock, like thinking, but there's only one fire pit.
if I make a bigger fire,
But I had to light the fire to see the words, and then the words said to light the fire.
the words are retroactive. Don't hurt yourself.
He's just like exhausted, like he's been walking around in armor for way too long. He's like, all right, fine, I'm going to bed.
All right,
And then
so
he's going to look at all the dry tinder as he falls asleep and think, in another life, maybe.
yep. As someone who's DM'd the people I'm DMing, you'll understand why I literally have a forest ranger druid on hand. As
You
well
just
as
hear the sounds of arrows knocked wherever you go. It's just like,
as well as this lovely note that's literally written out. If anyone is dumb enough to touch the very hot rock with the hot metal embedded inside, roll 2d10 stupid damage. Because I've met our group. So.
It's just like that fucking stupid ass Christmas story with the frosted pole. Dare you to lick it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Hot shiny rocks? Touch it.
Touch it. Yep.
All right.
All right. So as the sun begins to rise over the mountain, you notice that the shadows being cast by the mountain range doesn't quite line up with the silhouette of the mountain peaks. So there are shadows on the ground that don't line up with the mountain perfectly. It looks like maybe there's a magical reason that you can't see whatever's casting that shadow.
Okay.
So do you follow the directions of the rock and walk towards the sun?
Yep, straight into it.
Okay. So you walk towards the sun, and the angle that it's at, and being high up in the mountains, it's sort of blinding to walk directly into it.
All right.
It's at this point where, you know how when you're looking in the direction of the sun and there's like buildings or mountains and it's just peeking between them and it's almost like laser focusing it.
Yeah, it's like you just get the glimpse of the silhouettes, but then this bright glare of the sun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I drive east every morning. Believe
Same.
me. Ugh, it's the
Same,
worst.
same, same.
especially this time of year where the sun's coming up earlier and earlier and earlier.
Yeah,
So
I really enjoy driving into the sun in the morning and into the sun in the evening. It's the best.
yeah, so my visor's here. The sun's always here below my
Hmm.
fucking visor. You can't see any goddamn street lights. It's
There's literally
wonderful.
one part in my commute that as soon as you turn the curve, you know it's going to be standstill traffic because that's where everybody hits their brakes because they've gone blind when they make that curve. So,
That's safe.
yeah,
They should plant a fucking tree there to block the sun.
you'd think. So, as you walk, you're sort of unsure of your footing because you can't see where you're walking, and for a minute you get that pit in your stomach that maybe you're about to walk off a cliff, but you don't remember seeing a cliff. It's just you're a little paranoid after climbing.
Okay.
So, you're squinting against the sun, moving carefully, trying not to trip, trying not to fall off a cliff. Make a dexterity save for me.
That's gonna be a real winner. Let me tell you. Um, oh boy. Oh, not bad. That's a 14.
Okay. So as you walk forward, you blink against the sun and you keep trying to put your hand up to shield your face and just keep trying to make sure that you're not literally going to go blind because your mom always told you not to look directly into the sun.
No, she didn't.
As you're,
she wasn't in the picture,
you've
Jenna.
heard that somewhere. It's a metaphorical
She
mom.
did tell me not to play ball in the house.
Metaphorical mom told you not to look directly into the sun. And as you walk, you feel your toe hit a stone or a root or something sticking out of the ground, and you find yourself reeling forward. And you throw
Okay.
your arms out to catch yourself, but before you hit the ground, you feel someone else's arms under you catching you.
It's
And
Patrick Swayze.
yes, as you kind of like blink, you see a guard dressed in polished dark green leathers that's holding you up by your shoulders and straightening you, kind of chuckling a little. And as he puts you back on your feet, he just says, "So, first time in Thessalian, huh?"
They're just gonna look at him like, what was that? And thank you. I almost ate shit there.
It happens a lot, actually.
That's intense.
It makes the day pass faster
Yeah.
watching people come in.
Thessalian, you said?
Yep, that's what it's called. It's a hidden gem up here. Most people can't find it, and once they do, you can usually find your way back. But
All right. Well, I had some help along the way.
yeah, the bird.
That is the word. And there was two gentlemen in a wagon headed to the trading post, and a bear.
Ah,
I
was the
really
bear helpful?
well, it helped me a lot by not eating me.
So yes,
And
then.
yeah, but yeah, definitely saw the bird, got some bread. Speaking of bread, I need to get a loaf of it while I'm thinking about it.
You'll be able to find a shop either the actual baker or depending on the day, there's usually a market that has a bunch of smaller stalls. It's usually cheaper, but it just depends. It's also sometimes a little moldy because they travel up here, but
Mm.
it depends what you need it for.
All right. Well, what's your name,
Pat
guardsman?
Patrick.
Patrick the guardsman. I thank you again for not letting me fall on my face. It's
No problem.
really,
It's literally my job.
and as you know, it sucks when you get face planted into the dirt wearing heavy plate, and I'm gonna tap his chainmail. It's a lot of weight to get back up on your feet again. But while I got you here, where do I go?
What are you looking for?
I'm gonna pull out my holy symbol and say, have you seen a building or something with this around?
Ah, yeah, you want to go to the craftsman's quarters. There, basically, and he starts to point, and as he points toward the city as a whole, you see that directly ahead of you there seems to be a small marketplace with a bunch of empty stalls. You're here on a day that there's not a lot of trade going on in the markets. It's essentially a weekday. Um, it's still sort of early, and the vendors that are there only just now unloading wares. The path splits ahead of you, and you can see a modest inn to your left. There seems to be a patron sleeping on the front. You assume he passed out drunk there, but no questions asked.
Yep.
In the other directions, there's another level of the city, and signs point to permanent establishments like the meadery and the forge and a whole bunch of other shit that I don't have written down, but I
Alright.
will get to if you want me to. As your
No,
eyes.
right now, building by building. Let's go for that.
Okay, hold on. Let me
I'm
pull up my map.
I'm gonna go
Uh,
door to door,
okay.
starting at the outermost ring of the city, and work my way.
So you do see a sign for a place called the Fox's Folly, another called the Satin Rose. Across the square that you're standing in, you see a Bard College. There's a bunch of buildings.
All
Um,
right. Well, I think it's prudent to find an inn so I don't have to carry all my shit around. So that
okay.
might be the.
As you look around the outskirts of the city, you see that it's built into a mountain, and there are homes that are they start flat and they build up into the stone. There's balconies and walkways. Um, the main focus of the city is a massive waterfall in the center.
Hmm.
And if as your eyes follow the waterfall to the top, you see what looks like four balconies with houses behind them, and each of those balcony holds a decorative banner with different colors and symbols. And make a religion check for me.
All right. That is gonna be just a 10.
Alrighty. With a 10, I'll say that
What do
you
you want,
don't
Juju?
you don't recognize the green banner. The logo has leaves and a tree, and it's some you can tell it's something agricultural, but you don't recognize the deity.
Okay.
Um, you see another that has a crescent moon with a paw print that's purple and gold.
All right.
You don't recognize that one either. Um, there's one that has three intersecting triangles, and you recognize that as Valkyr, which is he is basically a god of trade and commerce. He's mostly known by sailors, so it's weird seeing him inland,
Okay.
but he's not an uncommon deity, so you sort of recognize that one. And the last one you see is Rorks.
All right. And these are just banners that are flapping around.
Yes, they're banners that are hanging from the balcony above the balconies above the waterfall.
Okay. I'm going to make a mental note of the banners and be like, all right, I think I'm on the right track. Now that I'm here, I should be able to find where I'm going. But I definitely want to find that inn. So the Fox's Folly, you said?
There's two inns. The Fox's Folly is uh it's a tavern that does have sunrooms. The bigger um mm, 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 the bigger place to like sleep and stay would be the large building with the man passed out in the front, which I can't find the name for right now because I'm dumb.
All right. Well, if that's the bigger boarding house, I'll walk up over to the door and I'll take a look at the guy that's passed out there and like he looks like he was drunk.
Yeah, he looks like he got drunk enough to they wouldn't give him a room last night, but they also are nice enough not to kick a drunk guy out into the forest, so he's just kind of curled up on the front porch steps there.
No injuries or anything that I can see, just
No,
crashed. Okay,
just
cool.
drunk.
Well, I'm gonna
He he
step.
sm- he smells like he may have peed himself.
That's a shame. All right. Well, I will step around him and enter the building, I guess.
Alrighty, let me find that shit. Mm-mm-mm. So what happens when I have too much details? Can't find details. Uh-uh-uh-uh. Gotta make sure I didn't just accidentally walk you into a brothel. Okay,
Yeah,
as
that was
you,
the
that's a different character. Um,
yeah, that was the Rose place, I believe.
yes, the Satin Rose and the Devil's Playground are both uh brothels in the city.
Houses of sin.
Weirdly, the people that sat in rows are very religious. Just maybe not one you appreciate.
Quite strange.
Mm-hmm. All right. So as you walk onto the porch, you notice the 3 triangle Valkyr symbol is on the outside wall of the building once you're on the porch, and you see a sign that says the Valkyr's Rest.
Okay.
So that is the largest quote unquote official inn that you'll find in the city.
All right, I'll go there.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm walking around my house because I need to find some shoes.
It's okay. I'm about to get up and turn down my air conditioning because it's hot as fuck in my house.
Yeah, I just noticed that mine's not running, which means I have to go reset it. So
That's not good.
yeah, it's an old unit.
Mine's running, but normally when Cass leaves the house, he turns it up because he knows I'm normally cold. But it's really warm in the D&D room.
Yeah,
and it's even more warm when I'm drinking and being mildly anxious about running stuff for the first time in a long time.
Yep, I'm just
So
like,
we're gonna turn that down to 68.
I'm just like, why is it so warm in my house? And I look at the thermostat, and it's like 78 degrees inside. And
It's anxiety sweat. It's fine.
there you go.
Wait, that's just me. Also, it doesn't help having this laptop literally on my lap because it's a little warm.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Alrighty. So, alright, you walk in and it doesn't seem super busy. Like, it's literally just after sunrise, so everybody's still asleep or hungover. But you do see a human man behind the counter washing cups from the night before.
All right, I'll walk up to him and good morning to you, sir.
Morning. Aren't you early?
I rise early, get there before the heat of the day. That's what I'm used to doing.
Smart. Smart.
I looking for a room for the day, I suppose.
I think we have a couple empty. The poor chap out front didn't sleep in his. We had to toss him out, so that one's at least hasn't been used. How long you plan on staying?
Well, I looking for a house of Rorks if I can, but I figure first day here may as well stay at the inn. But give me maybe 2 days,
Okay.
and we'll take it from there if I need to stay longer.
Well, what I can do is I can give you the empty room for 2 nights. But it seems like you have some pretty decent armor. You want to take that with you or leave it in the room or?
Well, I don't think I'll need to be wearing it all the time here unless there's some trouble that I need to know about.
All right. Well, what I'd normally do for people such as yourself is set them up with a room with a little better security because you have, some decent stuff, but all those are taken right now. If you want, I can put your stuff in our closet. It locks. It's pretty secure. You can check it out. I won't even charge you for it until you come back tonight. And if you decide to get a room elsewhere, I'll charge you, let's say, 2 silver for holding your stuff. And if you want a room, I'll just give you the room and move your stuff in. I only say that because a lot of people that say they don't know how long they're staying usually either don't stay because they can't find what they're looking for because they stumbled here on accident, or they stay long term and they find one of the houses. So it's really up to you. I don't want to give you the one empty room because it's honestly the one you give to the piss drunks, and there's not even a lock on it.
All right, can I insight him real
All right.
quick? It's a 16.
You see that he's being pretty upfront with you. He's one of those people that is used to small town mentality to the point where he would feel like he was ripping you off to charge you for a room that you might not actually use or that your stuff might get stolen out of.
All right. Well, I think that sounds pretty fair, and I thank you for offering. I think I'll take you up on that, so I don't have to wander around this armor. Is there any chance of a bath to wash the dirt of the road off and all that? And plus, I've been wearing heavy armor for quite a while, marching up here. Probably pretty right.
The rooms that I can bring baths to are all
All taken.
yes.
You got a horse trough out back I can jump in. I don't take up much space, as you can see.
If you want to rinse off in the trough, you're welcome to it. I don't know when the water's changed last. It's pretty early. My
Mm.
wife's not even up yet. Um, Honestly, the best place for a bath in this town is probably a place you aren't wanting to go.
Is there a house of ill repute? Is that what you're saying?
Uh, I wouldn't let them hear me saying that, but maybe.
No, I'm fine with it. People gotta eat. They do what they do. It's a
That's the
trade.
easiest place to get a bath, is all I'm saying.
All right. Well,
If you come back around noon, a bunch of the rooms should be pretty well cleared out. That's when a lot of the tradesmen head down.
okay. Well, I'll settle for that then, and I'll take you up on your closet offer.
All right. He shows you around, walks you past a couple of casks, opens a closet, and it's mostly full of like more expensive bottles of alcohol, wine. You see some honey mead.
Okay.
Um, there are a couple of food ingredients that you know double as alchemical ingredients, or some of them are also used as spell components, so they tend to lock those up just in case somebody gets the idea that they might get them here cheaper than the alchemy shop.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna change into some fresh clothes at least, just commoner's
Alrighty.
clothes, and and leave all my equipment behind,
Alrighty.
except for like a dagger or something. 'Cause he seems like this place is pretty friendly.
It's they have if they were crime statistics, they'd have a very low crime rate.
All right. Well, I mean, they could be lying about their rate of crime. You never know.
It's hard to have a crime rate when no one gets caught. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. People go missing here. We don't look. We don't ask too many
We
questions.
don't know. Nobody even knows we're here.
Nobody cared about them anyway, so why should we?
So
Okay. So we're on
he
Vancouver Island.
he walks up your stuff and he holds out his hand and says, "I'm George, by the way."
George, I'm Torgud. Torgud Grumblestone, and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance here.
Same. If you come back and you don't see me, but you see a woman about yay high, brown hair, her name's Sarah. She's
Sarah,
my
you say.
wife. She'll know that your stuff's back there, so feel free to just let her know that you're here for it. I'll also give her a heads up to leave one of the rooms with the bath available in case you're back.
You're too kind, and um, I'll pay him whatever I need to.
He puts up his hands. No, no, don't worry about that till you get back here.
All right. Well, that's kind of you. I'll see you around midday, perhaps.
Sounds good. We'll have a great lunch.
Awesome.
I think today might be corned beef.
Well, that's quite a delight. I've been eating nothing but hardtack and a little bit of curious bread along the road.
No wonder you look so scrawny for a dwarf.
It's been a hard march and carrying heavy items basically, but I think a good meal under my belt will do me some good.
Probably. So if you just want to explore around, there's not really anywhere in the city I'd say to avoid. Just if you wander too close to the teleportation circle at the bottom of the waterfall in front of it, the guards might get a little shifty because they don't know your face. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
So you're telling me there's a teleportation circle here?
Yeah, but it only really goes up to the higher levels where
I was gonna
the
say I've been on the road walking for I don't know how long, and if I could have known that I could have just teleported on in, that would oh man. Well,
No, it doesn't go outside the city, I'm afraid.
oh, that's a relief. I almost felt a fool there, but perhaps you can help me there, George. And I'm gonna pull out my holy symbol again. Any idea where I might find a place with this on it?
He pulls a little monocle out of his pocket and kind of wipes the dirt off and looks at it real close and he goes, I
Care
don't.
for a peanut?
No, I have a dreadful allergy, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, all right. Sorry.
He looks at it and he kind of tilts his head to where he can see out the front door and he goes, it matches the big banner up there, don't it?
It does. I was wondering, maybe there was a place of worship with this symbol on it here.
Well, Ain't a proper place of worship that I'm aware of, but I know the house that symbol belongs to controls all the craftsmen in the area. So if you head over to that quarter, I'm sure someone there might be able to point you in the right direction.
All right, it wouldn't. I suspect there's a forge there then.
There was a long time ago. Now it's just a building.
Well, and maybe they'd be looking for a blacksmith, and I happen to have a little bit of that trade under my belt. So thank you for your information and your hospitality, and I'll see you again soon.
No problem. Welcome to the Thessalian.
I,
That shit's hard to say in a fake accent when you're like
they're,
have been drinking. That's all I'm
they're
saying.
thirsty Thursdays
Thessalian.
in Thessalian. Thirsty Thursdays.
Thessalian.
Thirsty Thursdays in Thessalian. Got it. And I'll head out the door with a spring in my step for not being weighed down by heavy plates.
You feel so light, so free.
And I will head towards that craftsman's quarter.
Alrighty. Are you going to look for the forge specifically, or are you just gonna wander around, or?
Um, I'm gonna head in the most direct way there because it's kind of like I don't know the place, but now that I have a destination, like my mindset is I'm gonna go to where I know where to go, and then once I'm established, I'll explore a little bit more. But I'll
Okay.
take in the sights. Like I'm not going at a fast pace there, but just walking along.
Alrighty. And as you walk, as you leave um the inn, and you walk towards the first crossroads where you saw the Bard College, and directly across the four-way from the inn is where the Satin Rose and the Devil's Playground are, and you see a couple of not scantily clad, but less dressed than you would normally see in public people just kind of loitering out front.
Right.
But if you look in the middle of the crossroads, you see what in most towns would be a small job board with wanted posters and whatnot, but you don't see any of the big like wanted crime posters. It's mostly um, a couple of handwritten notes for people looking for specific goods that they can't find in the city. It's more for traders to look at on their way out to know what kind of goods to bring in.
Okay.
Um, but is signage pointing you towards the waterfall that says Craftsman Corner or Craftsman's Quarter.
All right. So I'm going to kind of glance at the job board, take note that it's there, but not to dive straight into that yet.
All right, I'm
And
messaging you a rough map of the city.
okay, and then I'm going to head to the craftsman's quarter.
And the numbers on this map correlate to that Google document that I sent you. And if you need me to send it to you again, I will send it to you again.
All right, I should be able to find it. Look at all that art.
Ha, too bad you can't see it, internet.
Okay,
Alrighty.
so the big glowy thing's the teleportation circle.
The number 5 is the teleportation circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I am at where?
6 is the inn, 7 is the job board. So you're walking north and then west.
North and west, heading to 21-ish.
Yes, you are headed towards, I believe 14 is the forge.
Okay, so I'm going to start walking that way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to not stare, but glance toward the scantily clad people and give them a nod and keep on walking.
There is a solid black tiefling with blue face paint that kind of does the head nod to you as you make eye contact.
All right. That's interesting. Never seen a solid black tiefling before. The blue face paint's a little strange.
You
But
roll perception randomly. Why
right.
not?
That's only a 5.
That's good enough. You notice that you think that without the blue face paint, it'd be very hard to see this tiefling's facial features because their skin is so dark.
Okay.
So basically, it's just to accentuate where their eyes and mouth and nose are.
Nice dry brushing, I'll say as I.
Oh, you noticed. Okay.
Aye.
So fancy.
Templar blue. That's a good color by Citadel. Citadel
Uh,
makeups.
oh god, that's canon. Sephora. Citadel.
Their Sephora line.
All right. So,
So heading towards this forge.
all right. And you're coming from, are you literally just going to walk north and west?
Yep.
Okay. You'll come close to that teleportation circle that you were told about, and you see a couple guards. But if you don't go up the stairs toward the circle, they don't really pay you any mind. They just kind of watch you pass.
Yep. Just nod to them as I go.
And you walk past, let's see. As you turn west away from the teleportation circle, the first building you see is a brown wooden building and it's got a sign that says Hax's Haberdashery. You look in and you see a lot of embroidered items in on display, hanging on there's like a little porch and it's got little metal racks and you see a couple things on display out there. Um, the next building over is called Leather and Lace, and you hear two people inside arguing, but it's not a like we're gonna fight argue. It sounds more like siblings bickering. And you just kind of look over and you see a pink tiefling
Hmm.
that is throwing what looks like a bolt of fabric at someone else that you can't see.
His curiosity is definitely picked. So he's going to step into the store and kind of admire some of the leather work for certain, having an eye for craftsmanship while seeing what they're arguing about.
All right, as soon as you enter the door, the pink tiefling goes, "A customer!" And she just looks at you and goes, "Oh, hello!" Putting on this sweet voice that is completely different than the voice she was just using to yell. And when you look around the room, you see another tiefling. This one, a paler, like I'd call it like a muted pink, where he's still pink, but he's a very like monotone pink. He's only barely tinted,
Okay.
and he is holding the bolt of cloth like he caught it right before you came in, and he's looking at her like this happens on the daily.
Uh,
Like his expression to you is just an exasperated, yeah.
I'll kind of suppress a smirk, and I'm obviously just amused by this. And good morning to you. Couldn't help but notice this fine leather work you had in the window there. Thought I'd come and take a look.
Oh yeah, that's mine. And she just kind of winks at you. And if you had to guess between the two, you wouldn't have guessed that the dainty, bright pink female tiefling is the one that handled the leather part of Leather and Lace.
Hmm.
Um, but she handles that, and then her brother handles the more delicate work. If they need any embroidery, they take it next door to Hacks.
Okay. Aye, this is quite quite good. Your stitches are some of the best I've seen.
Thanks. People tell us that we're the best in town, but we're the only ones in town, so really it's just empty flattery.
Aye, well, yeah, I'm sure you get traders coming up from roundabouts that might be trying to compete with you, but this is definitely fine work here. And I'll look at the kind of frilly things and be like, those aren't quite to my taste, but I can see a keen eye for detail here, and it's quite good. What are you
And the
holding there, sir?
and he holds up a bolt of lace fabric and he just goes, "Deadly weapons." and just kind of puts it on the ground next to him and looks at his sister. And just with this look of, can't believe that you're already doing this early in the morning. I can't believe there were witnesses. I can't believe I still work here. Like you could just read all of that in his expression. And he walks over to you and holds out a hand and he says, "My name's Misha."
Misha, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Torgud.
And his sister goes, "Oh goodness, I didn't even think about it. My name's Penelope."
Penelope. Pleasure to meet you both.
"So, are you new around here? I've never seen you before, and I'd remember there's not a lot of dwarves."
First day in the city. I literally just fell through the gates at sunup, and
I
here
was
I
about
am.
to ask. That happens a lot, actually. You'd think they would fix that rock that sticks out like that, but they haven't yet.
Yeah, it seemed very well placed, almost as if it was meant to be there.
Between you and me, I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick put it there.
Patrick. He seems like a mischievous guy. He had that little
he
twinkle in his eye.
he's
Little,
nice, but being a guard around here is probably kind of dull. There's not a lot happening.
yeah, it's awfully quiet for a early morning in a village. Usually, you see all kinds of bustle going about. People setting up stalls and early morning business happening. Huntsmen riding out, etc. But it's fairly quiet here. I was surprised.
No, there's not a lot of huntsmen. Most of the stuff we have is agricultural. It's hard to see with the glamour, but if you leave out the front gates and you turn to your right, there's an entire farm out there. It's just the glamour hides everything until you've come inside. You can see it if you go out the side entrance, but if you
Hmm.
go out the main entrance, once you're a few feet out, disappears completely.
So there's a side entrance. Eh?
Well, you can't really get in that way because of the glamour unless you close your eyes and walk blindly over a few fences and through the orchard, but I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, that sounds taxing, but I'll make a note of that. I appreciate it. So there's plenty of farmers here, and I'm noticing. I'm going to point out a buckle on one of the leather
Mhm.
things. While your stitching and your leather work is fantastic, gotta say this buckle could be a little bit better. And I heard that there's a forge that's not in use here.
Yeah, it's that building across the street from us. It's hard to notice. It's a little off of the path. When you leave here, you're going to turn left and you'll walk a few feet, and there's a little bit of a curb, and then there's a little cobblestone path off the main path. Um, and there's a building a little ways behind that. There's like a little, what do you call it? What do you call it? And her brother goes, shack. And she goes, yes, that's the word. I was trying to think of something nicer. But there's a little shack that someone set up. He sells metalwork when he brings it to town, but he's just a traveling salesperson like the rest. I don't know why the main market square is not good enough for him, but I don't argue because the guards don't seem to have a problem with it.
I well, yeah, I can say right now, I'm looking at this buckle here, and the clasp is going to split if it's tightened just a little bit too much or too often. It's not the best quality of steel.
You're telling me, but it's all we get around here. Even if we need something fixed, if it's urgent enough, like if it's a plow or something that someone actually needs, then the Azura family will come down, they'll do their part, they'll do what they need. But unfortunately, with no children to apprentice for them and they have more pressing responsibilities than keeping the forge lit, and everyone that's come in since then hasn't been able to keep the forge lit, so we just have to deal with the trade that comes in.
You said the Azure family.
Yes.
Hey, where might I find them? They own the forge. You said.
Oh, they're up top. They own the entire trades district.
I see. Well,
Azana. I can't talk today. I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. It's not working.
oh, believe me, I know.
Uh huh.
All right. Well, if I could somehow speak with them, that would be quite handy. I do a bit of smithing, you see, and if you have a forge that's not going, perhaps I could start up a trade there, perhaps.
I'm not sure the best way to get a hold of them. The people that live up top don't really come down very often. Um, I'm sure you saw the teleportation circle. Getting a ticket up there is not exactly easy. Um,
I've
who do
heard
you
that
think she could talk to? And Misha just goes, he can always pray for it. And Penelope just kind of chuckles and goes, yes, you could ask Callistra. That's the fastest way to get things around here. But I don't think that he wants to go to a different deity. And she just kind of eyes your symbol, recognizing it as a deity symbol because it is part of the banner.
And who is this Callistra?
Oh, she's not really an official deity around here, but if you go behind the waterfall, there's a shrine to her that people leave notes for, and people say that if you leave a note, sometimes it might come true if she thinks it's worthy.
Huh. Well, that sounds interesting. Well, I'll see what I can find out here, and
If you don't want to deal with that, I would say talk to the man running the shack in front of the forge. Maybe he'll have some insight that we're unaware of.
possibly. Well, I appreciate your help in this, and I will certainly be back soon. Just maybe I'll need some bracers or something, and perhaps if I do get something started at the forge,
I'd
we
love to
could
do
help.
business with you. You
All
have
right.
no clue how much better things would be if I could actually get metal eyelets for this stuff. You know how hard it is to reinforce leather stitching by hand?
I've done a bit of that. I wasn't anywhere near as good as this, but sometimes you gotta patch up a piece of armor or stitch together something just to help you, and it's a pain.
That it is.
And I can't imagine your farmers are too happy not having somebody that can repair a scythe or make some hinge
Like
pins should they need it.
like I said, if a major repair is needed, the Azanas will come down because they can forge, but
But it's never the major repairs that are the problem. It's just the little things day to day, like just shoeing
oh,
your horses and
so true. And she points to her front door and you can see that it's off its hinges and
oh my.
it looks like when they close up for the night they actually lift the door into place and put wooden barricades on.
Yeah, that won't do. That won't do. Well, I don't have any tools on me at the moment. They're back down there at the inn, but perhaps I can come back and help you with this door for the information you've given me.
That would be lovely. If you could help, I will give you a steep discount on any leather work you need done. And if you
So
don't need leather work, I'll put a good word in you with hack for a good word in for you with hacks next door.
he makes those fancy hats.
Hats, other cloth things.
I see. Well, that sounds like a deal then, and I'll hold out my hand to shake their hands.
She shakes your hand, and Misha just kind of goes from over in his corner, and you can see that he's started working on something on a uh, a dummy.
Okay. All right, Penelope, Misha, thank you very much. I'll head out the door.
As you head out the door, you just hear it's Penelope.
I got it. All right, so I'm gonna go search for this shack.
Okay. You don't have to search very far. It's literally right outside her door and to the right. You see when you cross the street that there's a little pathway that leads up to a big building that seems to be set into the wall of the mountain that the city's built into.
Okay.
In front of that, there is an anvil outside and a big water trough that you recognize as a quench.
All right.
And across the little cobble pathway from that, there is a large kiln, and in front of that is a little wooden sort of lean to with a table set up and a man sitting inside just kind of reading a book behind his table, and on the table there's a bunch of swords and axes, and it's all pretty, it's not shoddy, it's
Just
average.
simple stuff.
Yeah, it's all your like starting equipment level stuff, to
All
put it
right.
meta-y.
Um. All right. So I'll go up to him and knock on the door frame.
All right. He kind of holds his hand up and finishes the pages on, closes the book, and goes, "Can I help you?"
Hi, my name's Torgud Grumblestone, and I see you've got a forge here, and I've heard around town that you might be needing a blacksmith.
I unfortunately don't have any say in that. It's not my forge. The Azana family lets me sell things because obviously the forge is not lit. From what I've been told, it's been cold for nearly a decade, but the Azana family will come down every now and then, but once they go back up, the forge doesn't stay lit too long.
I see. Well, what's your name,
Colton.
Colton? Well, I'd love to get in contact with these Azana family, if possible, and see about working this forge.
Hmm. I don't know how you do that. I've only talked to them once, and that was to ask permission to set up here. They are all right with it, but they seem
And
not.
how did you get in contact with them that time?
Oh, I talked to what is her name? The woman at the Folly.
Well, then at the Folly.
She owns the place. Tall, real pretty, dark hair. Can't miss her.
All right, I haven't been down there yet, but I'll have to make my way there, and I'm gonna take a look at the weapons he's got set up there.
Alrighty. You notice that it's mostly uh, it's not a lot of weapons as much as it is like hatchets, axes. Um, there's a couple of scythes. It's mostly things you'd. It's mostly utility.
Okay.
The couple of swords that are there are ones that you would consider more like the equivalent of somebody being like, "Well, I know I might be in danger, so here's the pocket knife." It's the sword pocket knife, essentially. I don't need this to be fancy. I don't need this to go on a mission. I'm not going adventuring. I just might run into trouble.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look at some of this shoddy stuff, and like, are there any like scrap metal or ingots anywhere around?
Not that you can see out where you're at. If you wanted to actually go check out the forge, you could look around there.
All right, I'll look around and see what I can see out there real quick.
Okay. As you walk toward the forge, you notice that there's not a door on the building that served as the main forge. And if you go in, you see a sad, unlit forge. There's still some ashes in the bottom where nothing's really been cleaned out. The bellows seem to have a tear in one side. You
Okay.
figure that there might be a family of mice living in it. It's been that long since somebody's been in there.
All right.
Make a perception check.
That is a 21.
All right, with a 21, you can confirm that it has been at least a decade since the forges have been lit. And you see on the back of the forge that there's an engraving on the inside. It looks like it was carved into the back of the forge is the up against the mountainside.
Okay.
So it looks like there's not like any brickwork or anything. It looks like somebody actually carved into the mountainside itself when they built this forge. And
All
you
right.
can see at the very top there's a small symbol of Rorix.
All right. I'm going to do whatever, you know, like sign of the cross thing for Rorgs, and kind of like
It's just mock
brush my
hammering.
hand over the anvil and knock some dust off and look at it, and but I don't find any like scrap metal or anything sitting around.
There is to the left of the forge a barrel of just chunks of slag. You can tell it's been melted and just tossed into the pile.
Okay, so nothing good.
No, there's stuff all over the ground that last time someone came down to forge, they just didn't clean up.
Okay.
There's really nothing where I'm sure if somebody wanted to go through it, they could find a couple pieces of silver or gold that they could chuck somewhere, but nobody's really deemed it worthy of doing that.
All right. Um. So I'm gonna walk back to Colton
Okay.
as he's reading, and be like, so this here your work, and kind of point to some of the items that he's got for sale.
Psh, no, I just sell it.
All right. Well, what you reading there?
Nothing. And he puts it down. It's totally
All
the
right.
less.
All
It's
right.
totally the less Yargo name made.
Oh
100%.
yeah. Well, I don't mean to pry or anything, but noticing like these are some pretty crude tools here, and like I'll point to like a scythe or something and be like that blade's just kind of bent at the wrong angle for a good clean swipe at grain or whatever you're going for. It's a bit knocked, and it's just not sharp enough. Like I could do a lot here if I could work here. Not for you, I mean, but for this forge. But perhaps as people know you and you're a well-read man, maybe going into business wouldn't be a bad idea.
I mean, if you want to fix this crap and tell me how much you want to charge for it so I can up the prices, I'm all in.
Well, all right. I'm gonna look at that scythe, and I'm gonna take out a few pieces of copper as basically like part of my channel divinity thing.
Mhm.
And just like we'll start doing some small talk as I'm looking over it, but I'm also like kind of praying over it and whatnot with my back to him. And it takes an hour, so it's just a lot of like day-to-day bullshit, like
It's a
this and
lot of
this and
him being like,
uh-huh.
yeah, the weather's fine.
Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
also like you see this handle and just blah blah blah, but also like
He seems like he gives no shits. Roll an insight check.
insight. Okay. That is a 14.
Okay, with that, the
Actually, no,
whole
that's a 17. Sorry.
even better. You notice that the more you start talking about craftsmanship and things going it on with the weaponry, the less he pays attention. You're
Okay.
not even 100% sure that he knows what you're touching is a scythe. Um, with that insight check, you kind of understand that this is a trade town,
Okay.
and after several trips to and from this town, he was smart enough to figure out that there is not a blacksmith and that this kind of stuff is stuff that people would pay for. So
Okay.
when he leaves and goes to other towns, he buys the cheap shit and then sells it at normal prices up here.
All right. So during that, I'm using my artisan's blessing, which is an hour-long ritual, and using my copper pieces, like basically the same amount of money it would take to buy a scythe. Like I'm imbuing that metal into the scythe and making it like better, not perfect, but like
Better.
way better, like functional, and it looks just very well done. And then I'm going to stand up and kind of turn to him and be like, well, I appreciate the conversation, and I'm sorry if I bored you, but as you can see here, I've got a bit of a knack for metalwork, and I'm going to hand him the scythe and all that.
He looks at it and, with a 4, does not notice a difference.
Well, good day to you, Colton. It's been a
He just
pleasure,
he
and
just goes, "Thanks, I guess."
you might want to mark up that scythe about maybe a couple coppers there.
If you say so, man.
Yeah, it's probably worth more than that, but like this guy doesn't know.
He
All
really
right.
does not.
So at that, I guess I'll go down to the Fox's Folly.
Alrighty. If you Which direction is that? Alright, it is back down in the main quarter across from the inn that you stayed in. And as you walk in, you notice that it's mostly a tavern. There aren't a lot of like rooms in wise. There are stairs that lead up to a loft that has a couple doors. There's a door that leads back into what you assume is a kitchen based on people bringing food in and out. There's a lot of tables, and there's a little corner round quarter circle stage area
Okay.
with a lute propped up, and you assume that there's probably a bard of some kind in the evenings over here.
All right. Um, I'll make my way up to the bar, I guess.
Alrighty. As you approach the bar, there is a half orc man standing behind it serving drinks, and he will walk over to you and just look at you and go, "What are you having?"
Something strong.
I got a lot of that. Well, let's see. And he looks back and he's doing that thing where places that have local brews know new people.
Mm.
So he just kind of looks behind the bar and he goes, "Well, we've got a honey mead, got a cider, got wine, um, got the Hax's special. I wouldn't recommend that unless you want to be sleeping it off for a couple days.
Oh, no, thank
Um,
you.
um, we've got, hmm, do we have any?" And he kind of looks you up and down and knows you're a dwarf first off, which is not a lot of you around, but he notices your holy symbol and he goes, "Oh, Rorik's got just the
Yeah.
thing." And
Oh well.
he hands you a glass. It's like a it's more than a shot, but it's not really a shot glass, and
All
it's
right.
got this amber, smooth-looking liquid in it. He just looks at you. He goes, "Give that a taste."
All right. He'll give it a sniff and then a taste and then just knock it back.
All right, it is a cinnamon whiskey that
Oh,
sort of burns when you drink it. Um,
that's what you. That's what the doctor ordered. I'll say.
I thought you'd like that. You know what it's called? And he holds up the bottle, and it has Rorik's symbol on it, and it's called Rorik's whiskey.
Well, isn't that a coincidence? That's quite special.
Yeah,
Where
we made it. We've had it a while. It was a special request by someone somewhere. Said it burns like the forge going down.
it's quite good. Quite good. That's the only bottle you got. You said.
Well, we got a couple more, but I have to buy them from the. I just sell them secondhand. There's
I
another
see.
place he makes the shit, but apparently these ingredients are hard to come by, so not a lot of it in stock. That one's on the house. You're new. It's the only one you're gonna get.
All right. I'll tip him a silver.
Thanks.
Aye. So, what's your name there?
My name's. Oh, make sure I pronounce it right. Sorry. Words.
Are you a bit daft, son?
He's been dipping into his own supply, man.
He's just drunk.
Name's Husarm.
Not my arm.
Husarm. It's people call me Hus.
Huss. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Torgud. I was just talking to a fella named Colton up yonder in the Crasson district. Um,
Aye, that man. Swear, stuff gets shittier every visit.
yeah, I don't think he knows what he's doing. I did
Oh
something
no.
special with just a simple scythe, and he couldn't tell the difference.
First trip he made up here, he was trying to sell rotted fruit. It'd gone
Uh,
bad on the trip up. I assume he didn't feed the bird and got stuck in the loop a few times.
the bird did mention sometime people get turned around, and maybe she meant him specifically.
Possibly.
No,
Sometimes she fucks with people if they're not nice.
she seemed quite kind. I gave her a
She's.
bit of bread, and
Oh, that's how you made it here.
there was a bear. I met some people in a wagon, and then there was some bread exchanged, and then there was the bird, and I gave her the bread, and it was like just meant to happen. I guess I
Seems
got
like you made it pretty easy then.
indeed. So I had a look around the forge,
Aye. Sad, isn't it?
just kind of like order another glass and like take a long drink at that. Yep, one of the saddest sights I've seen, and I've seen some sad forges, but you can make anything work if you put a little care into it.
That's the problem. They've tried to hire a few blacksmiths now and then, but nobody can get the forge lit.
Hmm.
The the Azana family can get it lit, but it won't stay lit unless they help. They don't have time to help, and apparently they refuse to tell the trick to getting it lit to any of the blacksmiths. They say if they can't do it on their own, they ain't worth spit.
Is there any way that you know of that I could contact this family and see what if I can have a go at it?
They only really talk to people if it's worth it. If you think you can get it lit, I can maybe could put in a good word.
I'd be much appreciated.
All right, where are you staying?
I'll cock my head over across the street there.
Ah, George's place. He's a good
Aye,
man.
there for now. He's got my stuff in a closet, and then we'll see how long I need to stay here, and perhaps I'll be moving in if this forge thing works out.
Aye. Well, I'll talk to a few people. Might be able to get a word in. I'll send them over your way if I hear anything.
I appreciate that. You're a good man, and I'll tip him another silver piece.
Thanks.
So,
So it's probably around noon if you want to go get your bath.
yeah, I'll go do that.
All right. So you'll go get your bath and get your stuff back. One of the rooms is empty upstairs, so they will. All right, Sarah's there when you get back, and when she sees you, you're like the only dwarf in town right now, so they know it's you.
Okay.
So she greets you, and she just says, "Oh, it's you. You're back. I hope you don't mind, but I kind of cleaned your armor. It was a little dusty, and it was in our food stores."
He kind of gets that like brief moment of kind of panic, like somebody's messed with my, but also like sees just the kindness in that, and it's like I thank you for that. That's very nice of you. I'm a
She kind of waddles over and unlocks the closet, and when she opens the closet, you can see that everything is exactly where you left it. She didn't move anything, but she did like take a rag and wipe down what she could get to.
all right. You kind of did you use what did you use to clean it? Just wipe it down, or did
Just
you
a
use?
dry rag. I didn't
All
want to
right.
do anything bad. I know better than to put stuff on other stuff, but it was just so dusty from traveling and I just couldn't stand it. I'm sorry.
Sarah, you're all right. I thank you kindly for that. That's just I've lived in that armor basically for a long time, and you get a little bit of panic when
Honey, it
others get to
smelled like
fussing.
it.
Oh, believe me, it's been a long road, and you know I would have taken care of that, but there wasn't a room ready this morning. But I, I I do appreciate that. You're too
Oh,
kind.
speaking of which, there's a room upstairs. There's a bath up there. The water hasn't been heated yet, but I can do that if you need it. I just knew that you wanted a bath. I didn't. My husband said something about dunking you in the horse trough, so I didn't think that you would maybe actually need a heated bath. So the water's up there, but if you need it heated, just let me know. We'll take
Oh,
care of it.
I think I can handle heating it myself if you don't mind. I won't build a fire or nothing, but I've
Oh,
got
thank God that has happened. It is amazing what drunk people will try to accomplish.
I I can imagine.
Yeah,
Because
if you want to, do you need help getting your stuff upstairs? I can go get George.
oh, I think I'll be all right. I'm sure you got a busy time coming, being about midday.
Oh
But
yeah, it's everybody's checking out. Other people are coming in. This is about the time the travelers make it. Most of them try to get here first thing in the morning, but you know how it is finding your way up here.
yeah, definitely quite quite a task, I'll say.
Eh, it's worked out so far. Keeps the riffraff out, you know.
Aye, indeed, indeed. Well, I'll take care of this
Oh,
and
hold on. And she hands you a iron key with a ribbon, and on the ribbon is an embroidery of the number 4
okay.
and little flowers and the triangle symbol of the inn.
No, that's quite good embroidery. Was that from the haberdasher?
It was. Have you met Hax? He's such a nice man.
Not yet, but I admired his handiwork while I was at the leather shop and the lace shop.
Ah, yes, Penelope's.
Yes, it was quite good, quite good. I see a lot of good crafts in that respect, but Oh, their door's looking a little shoddy, so I'm gonna have to fix that.
Yeah, there's a few things around here that could use fixing. You handy with that kind of thing?
Hey, if it's got to do with metal, I can probably do it.
Well, we might be able to come up with some trades then instead of asking you to pay for the room. Let me talk to my husband. You go upstairs, you take your bath, and I'll see what he has to say on the matter.
All right, sounds good, Sarah. Thank you very much. I'll head on up there.
And as you walk up the stairs, she goes, "Oh, do you want lunch? It's corned beef.
Definitely, that would be great.
I'll have it sent up."
All right. So once I get
You
to my
you
room,
get the feeling that George and Sarah are the kind of people that used to have a lot of kids and now they're empty nesters and they're kind of taking that out on everyone that comes into their inn. Like it's
just a
it's the equivalent of going to your grandma's. Like the first thing Sarah says is, "Are you hungry? Okay, you need a bath."
just a little too nurturing.
Yeah, it's you had the right idea with George of doing the insight check of just being like it's almost suspicious how nice you're being.
Yeah, it's a little.
But they're genuine. They don't realize that strangers, especially strangers who've been outside of their Thessalian, don't really appreciate
Sure.
the over kindness.
Yep.
All right, so let's roll a d6.
All right. 6.
Okay, so 6 hours pass, and you're starting to think that maybe Huss was giving you the runaround and he wasn't going to put a good word in.
But was
And
lunch good?
lunch was delicious.
Okay.
You're wondering if there's leftovers for dinner because it's been a few hours.
Yeah.
Um,
All cleaned up and in some better clothes.
mhm. And you hear a knock on your door, and you assume that it's probably Sarah or George asking if you want dinner.
All right. I'll go and open the door.
All right. Dude, sorry. Apparently, I'm standing on one of Copper's toys, and he's trying to chew on my foot.
Yeah.
When you open the door, there is an elf woman standing there in a black cloak with her hood pulled over her head. And I need to beat my dog because he got into a bag of feathers apparently when I wasn't looking.
Oh no.
Mhm. Oh, all the feathers I haven't attached to your costume yet. They're all over the floor. Some of them are gonna have dog slobber on them.
Oh good. It'll be just like I'm at home.
Yep. Son of a bitch. I was wondering why he was being so quiet.
See, that's the thing. If he's being quiet, it's mischief.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on some clothes.
I assume you're wearing like something. It's been 6 hours. Have you just been like free balling in your room for 6 hours?
I've got a rubber ducky, just been in that bath. Nobody's brought me lunch yet. Just going to
It's
town.
it's been 6 hours. They brought you lunch.
Just in there and
They
thinking
probably brought you lunch before you got in the tub. That's how like worried they are about people.
thinking about the rubber ducky in the bath. All I can think about is that fucking game with the little frog. Da, da, da.
It's
I'm like,
canon now. I'm adding a rubber duck to your inventory.
all right,
You travel with it.
fair.
It'd probably be a wooden carved duck, but it would still float.
Yeah, shoddily painted yellow with
Yeah.
lead paint.
Mhm.
The perfect child's toy.
Don't put it in your mouth. You'll be fine.
All right, so yeah, I'm cleaned up and just been, like unpacking things a little bit, like going through all my stuff and like
Okay.
that needs to be cleaned. Oof. And I'll open the door. There she is, and
Mhm.
I'll, hello there, spooky, my lady.
When you say spooky, she goes, "Oh, sorry," and she puts her hood down. She goes, "It was raining."
I'm gonna look outside for like the first time in 6 hours. Oh
It's
well,
it's it's a little overcast.
imagine that.
You're in one of the rooms that faces the mountainside, so your window doesn't really have like an open view.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a little rainy. Um,
Uh, can I help you with something?
yes, I actually heard that you're wanting to talk to someone from a Zona clan.
Yeah, I certainly was. Come in, and I'll let her into the room.
Full disclosure, I'm not them, but I think I can get you in. I
All
just
right.
need some information first. My I'm Talon, by the way. I own the Folly. My bartender said that you were talking
Who's?
about. Yes, who's? Uh, he was talked. He was telling me that you were interested in potentially using the forge.
Well, I'm a blacksmith by trade, and I'd like to give it a go. It seems that you're in dire need of a blacksmith, and
Well,
that Colton guy doesn't seem to know his trade very well.
God no.
Like, nice fellow, but
I bought a dagger from him once. It broke. Broke. Straight up broke.
he's just gonna. Yeah, that could be life or death. You never know.
Luckily, it was life for me. It did make the death of that person a little less comfortable with half of a dagger in them, but that's a different story. Um,
Hmm. All right. Well, sometimes you gotta kill somebody. It's perfectly normal.
I try to avoid it. It's messy work, but
It sure is. So,
so I
manners. Sorry, my name's Torgud, by the
oh,
way.
I
It's
should have asked. I'm sorry.
you.
It's been a day.
I'm sure raining and everything.
It surprisingly doesn't happen that much here. It's usually snow.
Hmm, weird.
So whenever it comes to the people that live in the upper floor or the upper levels, they're, how do I put this gently? Snooty?
All right, I can understand that. Lords and those
They're
types.
exactly. They come down when it's demanded of them or when it benefits them.
Sure.
And demanding them tends to take more time than benefiting them. So, the way I see it, there are two options. One, I go to the people I know, I put in good words, and I hope it reaches the Azana family ear. So they come down, they talk to you, and we see where it goes. The potentially faster option, seeing as you're a blacksmith and knowing that we've had a few of those come through before, is if you could get the forge lit, they would come down because they would want to know who did it.
All right, so it's more of a ask forgiveness, not permission sort of thing. Just do it, and
I assume they're okay with someone trying, given that they're letting Colton squat there without any blacksmith knowledge at all.
you know, I made a scythe for him with no tools, mind you. Didn't even tell the difference in quality.
Yeah,
It's a shame. Like,
I think that he's one of those tradesmen that doesn't care what he's trading in as long as he makes money.
but does he make money? That's the boggling thing.
Sadly, yes.
Well, I guess desperate times, desperate measures. So you're the owner here, you said.
Of the folly, yes.
All right. Seem a little kind of shady for a businesswoman. I mean, all
Who's
this
who's
kind
who's to
of
say what's not shady?
my contacts, this and that. I've been around some pretty shifty people, and I kind of got an eye for it. And I respect that it's a trade like any other, but I just want to know would I be in some sort of debt here if I take you up on this forged lightning thing? You're not gonna
Debt?
put like a horse's head in my bed, are you?
I would never.
All right.
Uh, she thinks for a minute, understanding where you're coming from, having met religious people in her travels, and she just goes, "Debt? No, but it would greatly benefit my contacts and friends to have a blacksmith in the city. You wouldn't owe us any more than any other patron, but having someone that can actually make weapons that won't snap or fix belt buckles that won't break would come in handy. And roll an insight check for me.
Okay. That is what's my insight? That is going to be an 11.
Okay, with an 11, her mentioning the belt buckle that you specifically talked to Penelope about kind of makes you go, "Was that a coincidence?"
Mm.
Or was she like, does she have eyes? Has she talked to Penelope? Like, what? It
Yeah,
just,
this person definitely knows the goings on, but
hmm
I don't know, like, not enough to be like Penelope, that bitch sold me out, sort of thing. Um, well, gotta be honest with you, weapons. It's a bit of a sore subject for me. I can do it. I don't like doing it.
I understand that and respect that, and we could
I
possibly find an arrangement that doesn't involve you making them as much as potentially repairing them.
repair, sure, but I've seen just way too many people die. You get a weapon in someone's hands, they think they're invincible, and then they go off and just get slaughtered. It's just,
It definitely happens.
I'd rather not contribute to the deaths of more good people.
And I can promise that I won't make you do anything you don't want to do. That is
No.
not my job or my intention.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of grasp my holy symbol and be like, I'm trying to take a different path here, and yeah, it would just be it's a bit, if I have to do it for aiding
Well,
this,
if you can make ball bearings, we're in business, 'cause I buy those by the thousand.
I can make 1,000 at a time. It's incredible. Fucking ball bearings.
Still don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be for, but there's 1,000 in my pack.
I'm honestly thinking like slings.
Maybe I don't fucking know. Whatever. So she just says, so it's up to you. Um, if you want me to try to get word to them, or if you want to just try to start off your relationship with the Azanas with by impressing them, I feel like that would be the easier route to take.
I could give a shot at this forge. I don't know much about it. Is it something magical that's preventing people from keeping it lit? Because I mean, most of the time you just light some stuff on fire, bit of wood, get some coals
That
banked
I'm
high.
afraid I can't tell you. I'm not a magically inclined
Mm.
individual.
And I noticed while I was there, there was like the bellows need some repairing. It's a bit of a mess. Like, is there? Would I go to Leather and Lace to see if they could help me with that sort of thing? Like, what?
They might be able to, hacks might be able to. It just depends. If if it's a leather patch, I'd probably go to Penelope. She should be able to help.
All right.
And if you get the forge lit and can fix her door, I'm sure a trade for a trade would be
Aye, the door.
amenable.
Shit, the door. I look at my non-existent watch. Well, yep. I think I can do that. Because it's getting pretty late in the day, right?
hmm
All right.
It's about supper time.
All right. Well, I thank you for this help and advice. And how would I get a hold of you if I need to
Just
speak with these?
come to the folly if you need me and you don't see me. Just ask
All
us.
right. Who's
Who's
whose arm?
who's whose arm?
All right. Well, I appreciate this, and I'll hold out my hand to shake it. Says, hey.
She'll shake your hand.
All right. Got calluses. You're a fighter then.
Used to be, long time ago.
Yeah, a bit of a, I'd say, handy with a bow, maybe some throwing knives.
More the latter than the former. It's been a while though.
Yeah, well, I could recognize that in someone. Been around a lot of ruffians and fighters and of the sort, but it's a
There
pleasure
are a lot
meeting
of
you.
those. Same to you. If you need anything, I'll be right across the street. It's always good to
Uh,
see new faces around here.
apparently doesn't happen much.
Not really. It's usually the same faces coming and going.
Kind of a convoluted way to get here, to be honest.
Yeah, the druids that built this city really didn't like people.
That's fair. Known some druids. Strange, strange people.
Hmm, yeah. Don't think I've met one that wasn't strange.
I It's always like, oh, I want a pet dog and what have you. And it's just, you can turn into one. Why do you need a pet? It just makes no sense.
Well, they can't
Anywho,
pet themselves.
yeah, that's kind of weird. Anyway,
I'm going to go now. She just
yeah.
starts backing out of the room. Like, this took a weird turn, but okay.
Yep. So once she's gone, he'll head off to Leather and Lace, and
Okay.
even though it's getting late, he wants to check out that door.
When you get there, Penelope is trying to put the door up and is cussing it.
So what you got going on with this door?
It's broken.
Yeah, I see that. All right. So I think I've got some tools, don't I?
Whip up some half pin barrel hinges real quick.
Yeah. Could have sworn I had blacksmith's tools.
If you
Yep.
don't, you should.
Yeah, it's just listed under tools. All right. So yeah, smith's tools. All right, you got what do you got here? Some nails, some hinges, etc.
All right, roll investigation.
Nah. That is a 19 plus some change.
Okay. So when you look at the door, you see that there are 4 square hooks on the back, just straight on the back, which is what they've been using to hold the bars across.
Okay.
And those existed before the door was broken as their way to lock up when they left for the night, um,
Okay.
or closed up for the night. But on one side of the door, there are hinges, and you can see that the pins that went in the hinges, one of them is snapped off, and it seems to be stuck. They can't get it out, and one of them is missing completely.
Well, I can see the problem right here. Looks like maybe somebody was really angry and slammed this thing so hard and broke the hinges. You have some angry customers, I imagine.
The male tiefling just goes, "It was Penelope." She
No,
just
look,
looks at him like,
I'm gonna look at him and be like, I know. Trying to be generous, but all right. You got any scrap laying around that I can use? Any bits of metal? Some of them shitty buckles, perhaps.
help yourself if you think you can fix it.
All right, I'll go and take some of those buckles and see what I got to work with. Just any kind of spare bits of metal.
All right. She will show you over to a box that is leather scrap and a couple of broken tools that you can see, like a leather punch that got bent at one point, so it's useless. You can tell that without there being a blacksmith in town, that when a tool broke, she just tossed it and got another one from travelers.
Okay.
Um, there's a couple of broken buckles, just a handful of general. This might have a use someday, so I haven't thrown it out yet, but it's not really something I'm going to go for if I have better things available.
Okay. Um, I'll take the leather punch and some of the straighter bits of metal, like some of the little pins from the buckles
Okay.
and whatnot, and I'll go outside and set up my smith's tools, just like a little hammer and stuff, and just start straightening that shit out. Going back to the door, kind of putting the pins in there, maybe kind of pulling and straightening and hammering some nails.
Okay. Roll. Mm, I guess. Are you proficient in your blacksmithing tools?
I am. So is
Okay.
that
I would say
like?
performance. I don't fucking know what that would be.
I
'Cause
think they work the same way as like thieves' tools.
yeah, because these tools are sleight of hand.
Yeah, it's just like dexterity plus your proficiency if you're proficient. So,
Let's go with that.
all right. Well, I'm not dexterous at all.
Let's say
But I've
what
got proficiency. So,
Well, what I'm thinking though is like dexterity makes sense for like lock picking and thieves tools because you're trying to be very like delicate and careful.
Mm.
Um, Not that there isn't some of that in blacksmithing, but use your strength modifier for those
Well,
tools.
I was going to say acrobatics, but okay.
That's no.
So that plus proficiency.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a 14.
Okay, I'll say that. Let's use one of my forge specific dice. All right, I'll say that after 2 hours, you have some pretty sturdy replacement pins that you're pretty confident will do the job. They're not the quality you want them to be because
Yeah.
you've kind of you're using your temporary setup, you're using scraps. It's not really what you'd like to do, but it's a good temporary fix. It'll get the job done.
Yep. All right. So the door's not exactly level, but it'll swing shut. You just gotta kind of lift it up a little bit at the end, slip it into place, slide the lock. It should work. It needs a bit of grease on these hinges for now. If I can get that forge going, perhaps I can just make you some new hinges here, and
That
you know,
would be amazing. And you just look
right.
at her face as she like moves the door on the hinge. Like
And it's
it, it's a
like
beautiful sound for her.
I, some people put a bell above the door to let you know customers are coming in. This is just as good. But yeah, like I said, just lift it. It's a little cocked. You got to lift that door, and it'll lock in place. But it's better than nothing. Better than
do
I'm gonna kick the
do we
boards.
do we owe you anything?
Oh, it's my pleasure to help. But I'm gonna try to get that forge lit. But I noticed there's some slight work that maybe needs done. Like the bellows are in bad shape, ripped and torn. I might want just a whole new setup for that to see what I can
I can take a
salvage.
look.
All right, it's late now. I'd let you get on home to whatever you need to do. It's past dinner time. I almost forgot about you, to be honest. I was playing with my rubber duck and had some. Yes, anyway, uh, maybe first thing in the morning we'll go over to check that out if that's all right with you.
Okay, sounds
So,
like a plan.
sweet.
If for some reason we're not here, or if you just get up really early, we live right behind the shop.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you in the morning then, bright and early. Up with the sun, I say.
She just kind of does this like, but me, she goes, I'll be up.
All right. I'll sound the horns come the dawn and walk away awkwardly. that whiskey, he's had a few nips of that before he came here.
I just like that all these encounters are so normal until it's time to say goodbye, and then it's just like, oh, I don't.
Well, he's not used to like real conversations. It's more like fall in line orders, and all the people he's known have been soldiers, so it's kind of like it's like, all right, it can't just be a
Talking to
raucous.
civilians is like, what
It's
the fuck?
very strange, and just being polite to people instead of just yeah.
Fair.
So I'm going to walk back to the inn, I guess, and see if they've got any dinner before they close up. Because I imagine it's probably like what 9 o'clock by now.
It's probably about 8:40ish.
Okay.
It's getting on 9.
Yeah.
When you walk back in, there are a couple people just drinking and having a good time in the tavern, just a normal tavern environment come evening.
All right.
Um, One of the men at one of the tables has a big goose egg on his head, and as you walk by, you just hear him go, "That damn rock in the entry gets me every fucking time."
I'm gonna chuckle. Like, yep, got me this morning.
He just gestures to his friends like, "See, it's not just me."
It's that Patrick. I heard he puts it there on purpose.
I fucking knew it.
Hey, good lad, that Patrick. It looks like he didn't catch you though.
No. And you hear one of his buddies go, "He told him last time. First 5 times will catch you. 6th time. It's up to you. Figure that shit out. Learn
Yeah.
where the rock is."
I'll look at that goose. Is it hurting you something terrible, friend?
Only my pride.
Well, I'll do a cure wounds. Like just go up and pat his shoulder or his arm and be like, well, I hope you feel better. And
He just kind of goes, okay.
And yeah, cure wounds, so his goose egg should go away.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yep.
Let the swelling down.
Yep. And then I'll
Plus
go
one
up.
to his embarrassment level. Just, it's fine now.
I imagine it's like in a cartoon when it's always like it quivers and just goes.
Yep. Yeah, you get the feeling this dude and his friends travel back and forth a lot, and this guy, for some reason, just cannot get the hang of walking into the city.
He's fucking Neville.
Pretty
Longbottom.
much. Pretty
It's
much.
always me.
Yeah. You get the feeling that his friends probably make sure he's walking in the rock when, like, because they were figured out where it is, and they're just like, no, you'll be fine right here. It's full.
It's always one of those things where, like, right before he trips over it, they're like, hey, watch the rock.
Mm-hmm.
What? Poof.
Yeah. Yep. Not
Right.
entirely 100% positive that someone didn't push him when he did miss the rock. Like, there's no telling.
Aw, poor guy.
Yep.
All right. So Sarah or Patrick working?
Patrick is behind the bar, and Sarah is taking food and drinks to tables.
All right. I'll go hop up at the bar.
All right. So George is back there, and he says, "So you got a room and a bath?
Oh, George.
How
Sorry. Yeah.
how are you liking the city?"
It's quite strange, but it's nice. Nice people that I've met so far.
That seems to be everybody's consensus the first time. For some reason, everybody outside the city thinks it's weird for people to be nice. Makes me glad I don't leave here.
Yeah, believe me, it's very uncommon. You go some places, and as soon as you walk through those gates, you got guards giving you the eye, townspeople looking at you. You don't know whether they're thinking of just murdering you in the streets or robbing you right there.
Oh, well, you don't
You
have
know,
to worry about that here.
I noticed just even walking down here after dark, didn't feel worried.
Not much to worry about, especially after dark. Most people are asleep or in here drinking. And if they're not
Yes.
here drinking, they're at the folly drinking.
Yeah, and I don't see a lot of the usual ruckus. Like, I've seen some pretty bawdy places, taverns and such, where fights are breaking out every moment. They're throwing somebody out.
Oh, there'll be ruckus every now and then, especially with the guard pool over there. You get the youngins. But
Aye.
for the most part, it's not a lot of trouble.
No, it seems like a nice place to live. I just helped out Penelope with her door, and am I saying that right?
Penelope.
Yeah, yes, that.
I
Helped with
like
the door.
I like Penelope though. I kind of want to change it to Penelope now.
Have you seen fucking Club Dread?
No.
Same guys that did Super Troopers, and it's like a really shitty horror movie version of Super Troopers.
Nice.
And one of the guys, he's got this accent, and there's a character named Penelope, and he's like, ah, yes, Penelope. Such a
Penelope.
beautiful name.
Poor Penelope.
Yep. So,
So when you say that, he goes, "Oh, you fixed their door."
yeah, it's just all. I think she's got some anger.
A little bit.
Siblings, what can you do? They fight, just the way it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
she slammed the hell out of that door. Hinges broken right off.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to spread
She's
the rumors, but
she's just she sometimes forgets her own strength.
I could
It's
see
a
that.
problem.
I could understand the door frame itself being broken, but the hinges pulled right off.
Yeah.
But
Poor
anyway,
Misha.
yeah,
He's so quiet.
he does
I
some
will
good
say,
work.
her anger and strength does come in handy with the leather work, though. She just punches right through.
All by hand. I noticed
Mm-hmm.
she had a leather punch tool that was just bent all out of proportion. Used it to fix her door.
Well, that was clever.
Use what you got. Speaking of what you got, how about some of that corned beef from earlier? You got any leftovers?
We do. We have corned beef sandwiches, and if you don't want any corned beef, I think that we've got, let's see. And he just ducks his head back in the kitchen. He goes, well, it's about to lie to you. We're out of roast, but we do have some stew left.
Oh, corned beef would be fine. It was good earlier. Be better now. I'll take
All
that.
right. So he brings you out the same corned beef you had for lunch, but it's on a roll, like a sandwich, and
All
he
right.
brought a little thing of stew to go with it in case the bread's a little crunchy for you. You can dip it in that stew.
And I eye the bread suspiciously just because my last experience with bread led me to being passed out.
It wasn't the bread, it was the druid, I promise.
It's just still.
Weird correlation.
It is. And yeah. So what do I owe you for all this anyway?
Well, the wife said that you might be able to fix some things, and you said you fixed the door over at the leather and lace, so if you wouldn't mind trading in favors, we got a few things that could use fixing around here.
Sounds good to me. Tomorrow I'll set out for the forge, see if I can get that lit. Because if I could craft some useful items, then that'd make things go a lot easier.
That it would. I wish you luck. We haven't had a blacksmith around here in at least a decade. I could use it.
I can tell it's. I might need to borrow a broom, maybe a shovel.
Between you and me, if you ask the missus to go with you, she'll probably clean it for you. She
No, I
has a
don't.
right problem, that one.
I'm gonna lean in and be like, "My armor is sparkly."
She does that.
Never
Why do
seen
you,
it that way since it was brand new.
he points past you and he goes, why do you think we got the cleanest tavern floor and everywhere?
I, I noticed that sheen on that wood. Usually floors are scuffed to shit. This looks polished.
Yeah. She throws the drunks out. She thinks they're gonna vomit because she doesn't want to clean it up. She says, not on my floor.
It's like magic, that is.
She's she's got a skill for it.
Should have known when I saw her wearing a white tee and a bald head with an earring. It's just a bit on the nose.
Cannon.
All
Oh,
right, well,
you saw her without the wig, did ya?
I imagine I should turn in, get up there. Is there a place I can get some firewood, perhaps, as well, if I do manage to light that thing up? We'll see how much progress I make.
Not completely sure if they'll help you out. We've got some around back needs splitting. If you split it, you can take it. Just if you take more than 3 or 4 logs, just maybe give me a copper or two so I
All
can
right,
pay a boy to bring in more.
sure.
Um, if that's not to your liking, you can head out the west gate to the orchard. Sometimes they've got some trimmings, but I don't know if they'll be good for starting anything. They might be a little too green this time of year.
Aye, be a bit smoky. All right, well, we'll see what happens come morning. I'm for bed myself.
All right. Do you have a time you need to wake up? Are you good at waking up on your own? You need breakfast in the morning?
I'll be up before dawn. I don't want to put you out any.
All right. Well, the missus usually leaves out some bread and water, normal, light breakfast things. If we're not up, help yourself to it.
All right, fair enough. I thank you.
All
I'll
right.
go up to bed.
All right. You sleep so fucking well because you're pretty tired. There's been a lot of excitement. You feel weirdly safe here.
All right.
Like, normally in the towns you've been in, there's been a lot of ruckus outside, so you've had trouble falling asleep. There's been like fights in the inn that just kind of keep you awake because you don't know if the fight might make its way up to your room. But
Okay.
it's relatively quiet, even with the people drinking downstairs, and you can hear some of the music from the Fox's Folly across the way, but it's weird. It's a calm noise. It's ambient sound. It's nothing that would really like keep you up.
All right. Yeah, not like what I'm used to with
hmm
just all
It's not
kinds of
it's not raucous. It's just
sure.
like everybody seems to have this unspoken understanding of we're all enjoying ourselves. We're all having a good time. If there's a
All right.
problem, we'll find a way to handle it respectfully.
Okay. Well, he'll get up early as hell and.
All right. When you get up, there is on the bar a plate of meat, cheese, a pitcher of water, um, just like basically the no hot food, but just some essential, like in case you're getting out early for the day, here's some stuff. We can't let you go hungry.
All right.
And if you make your way around to the backyard of the rest, there is a large pile of wood and an axe and a stump that you can see has been used for splitting wood. It is sort of late spring at this point, so there wasn't a fire going in the inn, but you did notice that there's a big fireplace inside.
Okay.
So you assume that in the colder months they use this wood to keep the tavern nice and toasty.
All right. Well, since it's so early, I don't want to start splitting wood because I fucking hate my neighbors sometimes. It's fucking 7 a.m. They're out there mowing the lawn and shit. Are you fucking kidding? On like a Sunday. Fuck you
I
people.
I like to wait until my neighbor does it at 7 a.m. and then at like 10 o'clock the night, like the next night, that's when I just ask Cass to chainsaw stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's
they've
fair.
been up really a long time. They're probably trying to sleep.
Yep, assholes. So
Hmm.
I'll do I see Sarah bustling about anywhere?
Not yet.
Okay. I'll I'll take some cheese.
And when you go look for wood, if you look around, you do notice that there's a small cottage behind the inn,
Okay.
and you assume that that's where George and Sarah live.
All right. Well, yeah, like I said, don't want to wake anybody up yet because it's still early, but I'll take note of the wood for now. Um, I'll leave a note next to the cold cut plate for Sarah saying like if she would like to bring a broom later to the forge, she can find me up there.
Alrighty.
And then I will head up there and notice that Penelope's probably not waiting for me bright and early, right?
No.
Okay.
Penelope is not awake, but you do see Misha sitting on a little chair on a little walkway that goes to the building caddy corner to the leather and lace.
Morning, Misha.
He just raises his teacup to you.
Just waking up, I see ya.
Yep, just getting around, enjoying the quiet before Penelope gets up.
Well, maybe if it'll help you out, have her come around to the forge to look at those bellows as soon as she wakes up.
I will send her over. She would not shut up about that door. I appreciate you fixing it, but dear Lord,
Well, if you start to get the headaches, let me know. I might be able to help you there.
it's just Penelope. You'd think I'd be used to it by now. She's
Hey,
just loud.
yeah, siblings. I know. Got some myself.
It happens.
Yep. Can't live with them. Can't live without them. Certainly can't kill them.
He just kind of does his face of like,
Yep.
could, but
I would not recommended.
like maybe he's thought about it, but he's thought better of it.
He's probably tried.
She's really strong.
All
All right.
right. So I'm gonna go up to the forge and like I've got my kit and tools and shit with me, so
Alrighty.
I'm gonna start like just trying to clean it, although I don't have much to clean with, but at least
If you look, there's the little rack of the traditional fireplace tools where you have the little brush and scoop and stuff to get the ashes
all right, I'll
out of the
start
forge.
there, clean that up, just get dust off of shit, chase the mice out sort of thing. Um, and try to take stock of like everything I need fixed, like the bellows or you know.
My headset keeps falling off my head because my head's too small. It's a problem.
Yep.
So you look, and the bellows did have a mouse nest in it,
All
but
right.
the hole is big enough you can reach your whole hand in and start pulling that out. That will definitely need to be fixed. You can see that it's an older bellows and that the accordion part was made out of a thick canvas, not necessarily leather.
All right.
So if you wanted it patched, you would probably go see hacks, but if you wanted a completely new uh, fabric, you could do it in leather if you wanted to. Um, you see that any tools that were left here are rusted, pretty much useless.
All right.
Um, the anvil's in good shape, it's just dirty. Um, the forge is in good shape, just dirty. The water in the quenching pool probably hasn't been changed in the last decade, so it's pretty stagnant and gross. There's some
Yeah.
leaves and
Dump that right.
bugs and random shit in it.
Yep.
But for the most part, the only thing in need of repair on the building is the bellows, and there used to be shutters on the windows, but they're long gone.
Okay.
Um, there are probably pieces of shutters still hanging off the walls, but it looks like whenever this building was empty for a few years, people started kind of just coming and picking up anything they thought was useful because they knew that it wasn't being used.
All right. Sales. Just keep bustling about, trying to do what I can. Like probably take the bellows apart so
Alrighty.
I could see how fucked up it is and clean out the inside and
The
look.
mechanism to lever it seems pretty good still. It could use some
Okay.
oil. It's stiff from disuse, but it's in pretty good shape still.
Yeah.
Um, After about an hour and a half, you hear it sounds like a squeaky cartwheel, and you think that maybe some traders just going down the road. But when you look out the door, you see Sarah with a little push cart,
All
and
right.
she's kind of struggling to get it over the uneven cobblestones.
All right. I'll walk up to her and good morning to you, and I'll just take the cart, start
Oh,
pushing it with her.
I got your note. I brought a broom, and George said that you asked about wood, but you didn't get any. So
Yeah, I was gonna split that for you, but it was a bit early when I woke up.
so you look in the cart and you see that there is a bundle of split wood in her little cart,
Oh, that's too
and
kind of you. I appreciate
a
that.
cheesecloth full of what you assume is cheese and bread,
All right.
and a little flask of water.
Oh, you're too kind to me. I let's have a look around, and I'll light up my pipe as I'm going because he's been at it for a while, just filthy with old ash, and he's gonna walk her around the forge and be like, "So this is what we've got going on. This is what I've done," and I think a little sweeping up will do. And soon as Penelope gets up, we'll take a look at this cloth here, and maybe have to run to Hax's and get this just like in his element and going on and on and on, like just
She
taking stock of everything.
she's just already looking around, like making a mental list of where to start.
All right.
So she looks to you and she goes, "Okay, dear, you handle that." And she points to the forge. And
All
she
right.
says, "I'll handle this." And she just points to the whole room. And before you can argue, she has a broom and she's over in the corner knocking cobwebs off the ceiling.
All
And
right.
basically, it looks like she's starting from the top down, just
Sure.
sweeping everything out.
Fair enough. And as I'm looking at all this stuff, I'm thinking, I was like, if I were Ginny, I could have just cast mend on some shit. But I'm
No,
not Ginny,
you
so I don't
you
know
you would
mend.
also need prestidigitation to get some
Yeah.
dust out. So after about 45 more minutes, Penelope comes walking in, and she has still like a little bit of sleep crust in her eyes. She's not quite awake yet. Seems like this is probably around the time she normally wakes up, but she's not used to being like a functioning human being at this point of the day. And she just kind of walks in. It's like, "Sorry, you wanted to see me?"
Morning, Penelope. I've got a bit of cloth here that needs some repairing, but I want your opinion on it first, and I'll take her
Mm-hmm.
to where I've got the accordion removed from the bellows, but like set up, I guess, on the anvil. Big hole in it, and be like, yeah, this thing's old, it's tattered. I'm not sure if I want to go with canvas again. You get those sparks flying off of the hot metal, and it could just burn that right up.
Hmm.
Maybe something a little more durable.
Let's see. And she kind of picks it up. She looks it over. Well, I could do it. I'd have to try to find more supply of soft leather. Most of what I have is more armor than decorative, so it's the thicker. It's not good for a bellows, but
Right, not as flexible.
if I could get my hands on something softer, I could probably make it work.
All right.
If you need something more immediate, maybe have Hacks patch this to hold you over.
And it is what time does his shop open?
He should be open anytime now.
All right.
It's getting to be about 9-ish, so most of the people that will be open are getting there.
Is Colton in his shack at this point?
No, Colton probably won't get there till noon.
All right. What a lazy ass.
He's not a reliable person.
All right. Well, I can tell that you haven't had your tea yet. Perhaps you should wake up a bit more and maybe come on back, or I'll go down and talk to Hacks, and maybe the two of you can figure something out together.
That'll work. If he can, if he can patch it to hold you over, he can also make me a template
All
pretty
right.
easy, and that'll make my work faster once I get the supplies.
Just realized how boring it's got to be for everybody else that there's two crafty oriented people role playing craft stuff.
Well, our viewership is already at 1, so sorry, Paula. I don't.
Paula's loving it.
Sorry. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, if this was happening with any other player, I'd be like, I need to wrap this up. But I'm like, it's Brian. He's enjoying this shit. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is great. Role play. Imagine that. Networking already.
Hear Jenna's horrible accent that is
That's
not an
fine.
accent of any kind.
That's all right. Um, so yeah, I'll walk with Penelope down to her shop and let her wake up, and I'll take the canvas with me to Hax's haberdashery.
Alrighty, Hax is there. He is a big dude. Like, you feel like the building that he works out of, he did not build this building. Because if he had built it, the ceilings would be at least 2 feet higher.
All right. Now
He's kind of hunched.
I notice as it's now daylight and I'm walking into this fancy shop that I am grubby as shit. Probably got cobwebs hanging off me. So like before I go in, I'll try to like knock the dust off
Wash
of
up
me.
a little bit.
Yep. Then I'll
Alrighty.
I'll go on in.
Let me find.
And I think I remember from your notes he's like a
He's a
Goliath.
he's a Goliath, yeah.
All right.
So he's a big dude. He's
Okay.
middle aged. Uh, and you didn't expect him to be a big Goliath guy because of the detail of the work that you saw. But when you walk in, he's got one of the little cross stitch rings and a
Yeah.
little needle, and he's just working at it.
So I'm kind of like taking it back for a minute and be like, oh, good morning to you.
Good
You must
morning.
you must be Hacks.
That I am.
Hi, my name's Torgud. I'm new here, as I'm sure you know.
Oh, you're the one that fixed the door, Misha told me.
Yep, it's a bit squeaky, but it'll do for now. I'm trying to get the forge going, and I've got a bit of patchwork needing, maybe something a little bit better. If you can make a template, perhaps Penelope next door can craft something out of a bit of leather.
Let me
Make
see
it.
what we're working with. And he just
All
kind
right,
of holds out his big hand.
all right, I'm gonna reach up to him and give him the
He'll,
canvas.
he'll reach down, so you know how to
Yeah,
reach as far.
because
He
I'm
just
only
kind
like
of picks it up, looks it over, flexes it.
it's a bit old. Mice were
Mm,
living in it.
it's a little rotted. Don't know
I
about patching.
maybe something just to get me by would do.
Mm, give me a second. And he sets it down on his countertop and kind of disappears in a back room. And you hear some moving stuff around. and he comes out with some folded canvas. It's really really white, pale. It looks like it's been bleached at one point. And he just kind of rubs his hand over the fabric, smoothing it out, and he goes, "I've had this for a while. It's off a ship, but it's the
Oh,
strongest fabric we've got. I think I could work you up something, hold
bit
you
of
over for a while."
bit of sailcloth maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. I think that'll do. What do I owe you for it?
Let me see if I can get it worked up first. I don't want you to pay for something I can't do.
All right.
But let's see if I use this to make a whole one, and then can use the same fabric to make the template. So if for some reason Pen can't make it, I'll still have that cut to make you a new one should you need it.
All right.
Probably take up the whole bolt. Let's say 1 gold for the bolt and 2 silver for the work. It's not very detailed. Should have it done in a
All
day,
right.
day or two.
Sounds pretty good.
Alrighty. And then he picks up the bellows and he goes, "I keep this."
Yep. You
All right.
may.
So he sets it aside and he puts the sailcloth on top of it and he turns back to his embroidery, and you get the feeling that the embroidery he's working on is probably a commission, so he's trying to get that done before he starts working
Okay.
on your stuff.
Sure. So
He's a
I'll head
responsible
on.
business owner, that Goliath.
Yep. I'll head out. Like I'm admiring some of the stuff he's got for sale, but not touching anything because I'm filthy.
He appreciates that
Yep.
worthlessly.
So, all right, and then I'll head back to the forge and see what's happening there.
By the time you get back from visiting and talking and like making pleasantries and stuff with Penelope, and who is pretty talkative, and Hax, you could probably eat off this forge floor, and that's saying something because it's a dirt floor. The cleanest dirt floor you've ever fucking seen.
Just looking at it, like, how do you polish dirt?
It's the shiniest damn dirt you've ever seen in your
I'm
life.
just like, dirt doesn't
And
shine.
when you look at Sarah, she doesn't even have dirt on her. Like, she's still clean. You
And
don't
I
know
was
how.
just like absolutely filthy earlier, just like,
When you get to the doorway, she stops you because you're dirty, and she puts her hand on you and she casts prestidigitation, and you're clean now.
that's a handy spell. Never thought to learn it.
Well, working in a place with beer and drunk
Dang.
people and all
Yeah,
kinds of nastiness, you learn some tricks.
that's a good one to know. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything you've done here. And I'll pay you back as much as I can. He's kind of got a little tear in his eye, seeing how sparkly it goes.
Prestidigitation on your tier. None of that.
No, none of that shit. All right, so he'll unload the wood,
She
and
she picks up the bundle of cheese and bread and puts it in her hand. She goes, "Eat something before you do anything else, dear. You're wasting away."
all right, all right. It's like you're worse
And
than my grandmother.
she pulls on some thick leather gloves that you would recognize as foraging gloves, but she uses them for cleaning. And she goes, "I'm gonna go tackle that." And she points to the quenching trough.
All right, I it's a
She
bit
she's
rusted, and
weirdly enjoying herself, like, a
all right.
lot. She's having
So
fun.
I'll eat, and then I'll start loading some.
You get the feeling that she's wanted to clean this for the last decade.
Starting to think she's got some
She's got
OCD.
problems a little bit.
Yeah, just the scent of Purell hangs in the air.
It's pine saw.
Well, that too.
No, I take that back. It's Fabuloso. It's purple Fabuloso. That is the smell of the forage right now. It's very specifically purple Fabuloso.
Yeah, she's got like a holster on her belt with simple green and
Hmm.
magic erasers everywhere.
She literally invented Magic Eraser, but instead of it being chemicals, it's literally just an eraser that's enchanted with prestidigitation
All right. Yeah,
that
so
exists in this world now. Patented.
yep. So I'm gonna fill up the I'm gonna just like split some kindling from the logs she brought and then like get it ready in the forge.
Okay.
Clean the anvil, even though it doesn't need it, just to look like I'm doing something because I feel bad that she's done so much work. And then,
She just lets you.
yep. So I imagine we've just been doing odds and ends shit because it's like without the bellows, there's no point in lighting it because you can't quite get there.
So we'll say that in your time cleaning and stuff, you work around the forge and stuff. So make an religion check.
All right. What is my religion? No. All right. 18.
Okay. As you're cleaning out old ashes and stuff from the forge and kind of getting cobwebs off the symbol of Rorix that's engraved into the back, you think that maybe this wasn't originally built as a forge specifically, as much as it was built as a temple to Rorix that was used as a forge, and over time it became just a forge. And with the family that built the forge not being the one using it, the other blacksmiths that tried their hand in it weren't appreciating the temple part of it as much as they should have been, which is why they've been having so much trouble keeping
Okay.
blacksmiths in the town.
I'm going to point that out to her and be like, I think this was a temple once to Rorik's.
That makes sense. There's a temple for all the other families.
And I noticed the symbol on the banner that it was established here, but I hadn't seen any kind of place of worship for them. So maybe this just went by the wayside, which is sad to see. I'll have to bless this place once we've got it going.
I think that could be true. There's not rightfully temples per se around here, um, but each of the houses has a god that's theirs, and each of the quarters of the city has a place that's something to those gods, and this is the only place that has anything for orcs. Um, the sad thing is, whenever the the family had to move up to the I forgot words. Whenever the family moved up to help with the council, normally they would have an apprentice or an heir or something to keep going to care for the temple and keep it lit, as it were. Uh,
Hmm.
but Simba and Asen don't have kids, so when their parents died, they had to move up. They had to leave it.
It's sad to hear. Well, hopefully we can get it going again and make something of it so they're not forgotten.
It'd be nice.
All right. So what's next on our deal? Because I think we probably.
Next on the agenda, we will fast forward to Hax bringing you the Bellows replacement so that YouTube doesn't ban us forever for being boring shits as we walk through every minute of every day
What if
while we
this
wait
ends
for
up being the
Bellows.
most watched
Oh
video?
god, people just want RP craft talk. This is essentially a shopping episode. What the shit?
I know, right? So when he comes in, I'm gonna like excitedly rush over. Oh, it's great to see you.
Hopefully it works.
All right, well, I'll pass him his payment. I've got a D&D Beyond question for you.
hmm
I've only got gold. It won't let me break it down. How do I deal with that?
There is a way to break it down if you go to your equipment tab and then your currency tab.
Okay.
Click on currency, and then if you want silver, you'll just have to subtract a gold and then manually type in 10 silver.
Uh-huh.
It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it's doable.
Okay. Yeah, that is kind of a pain in the ass. Okay. So you said a gold and 2 silver?
Yep. And he also hands you the unassembled fabric that's cut out in the template, and you can see little pencil marks where it's labeled and everything.
Wow, you do really good work. This is wonderful.
Thanks. It was fun to do something that wasn't just embroidering flowers for a couple days.
Oh, I can imagine. It's such delicate work, and your fingers are about as big as my hand. It's like that's very impressive. You've got a real knack for talent there, and I
Took a lot of practice.
can imagine. Well, would you like to stick around and see if we can get this fire going?
Sure.
All right, so I'll go and set it up on the bellows there.
Woohoo! I'm not going to make it roll to put it back on because you took the original one off. And this is basically a pretty effective replica of the one that you took off.
All right, so I'll give it a couple like test pumps on the bellows and
Mm-hmm.
see that it works, blow in some air, and
It'll work.
I've got my kindling there, so I'll take my tinder box and my flint and get up in that forge and strike a flame.
Alrighty, roll.
Just like a dex check or something. Or
I'm going to have you roll a performance check.
or is that survival for fire making? I don't know. Performance is fine.
Performance or survival, you pick. They're different. They're different skills, so.
I'm better at survival, so that's only a 10.
That doesn't do it.
Well, that's interesting. So I'm gonna take my belt knife out, and I am going to cast heat metal.
Okay.
On the knife, and I'm going to stick it into the tinder.
Alrighty, you smell some of the wood start to smolder, but none of it seems to catch.
And I'm going to start blowing on it to see if it'll work a little bit more.
A couple sparks kick up with the air, but nothing's catching.
Oh, that's odd. Can I do...
Hax just kind of pats you on the back and he goes, "Good luck with this, buddy," and he just walks out.
Hey, thank you.
He thinks you might be having some performance anxiety. Or he thinks the forge just can't be lit. You're not sure which.
Yeah, I mean, it seems odd that, like, nobody's lit the forge, and it's like, okay, maybe it's something magical. Can I do, like, an arcana or a religion?
Since it is a Rorik's forge, I will let you do a religion check.
Okay. Shit, that's only a 6.
With a 6, you get the feeling that there's nothing inherently magical about the forge, but that maybe you should ask someone's permission to use
Alright.
their forge.
So I will go up to the anvil and I'll take out my blacksmith hammer and I'll kind of kneel down before it and I'll say a prayer to Rorks, basically asking to bless the forge and allow me the honor of using it so that I may hone my craft in his name. And once I'm done with the prayer, I'll strike the anvil as kind of just like a, ding.
Very emphatic amen.
Yes.
Alrighty. Go make a performance check again, this time with advantage.
Oh, fancy. Well, I'm glad I rolled with advantage. The first one was 14. The second one was a natural fucking 20.
Sweet. Alright, so you go back, you don't even try anything real fancy, you just light it like you normally would, and it automatically takes. And the fire starts burning. It's probably the easiest fire you've ever lit.
Just like, wow. And I'm going to like frantically run over to the bellows and just start pumping those for all they're worth.
And as you do, the fire is stoked, smoke is billowing, and the forge is lit.
I'm just going to like gleefully cheer and look over at Sarah and be like, we've done it.
Colton outside just goes, "Son of a bitch."
And I'm, more wood, please throw some more in there. And we're like stirring coals and banking them. And
My dogs are wrestling. Hold on.
causing trouble.
The fuck are you doing? Alright, give me a second to feed them so I can
Sure.
put Copper in his kennel because the sound I heard was him knocking over a laundry basket.
Oh,
So he's
little rat.
officially gone crazy.
Smoke break it is.
Swear to God, it's just like a child. I left him out past his bedtime and he lost his damn mind.
Yep. It's just causing
There,
nothing but trouble, freaking out.
that wouldn't have taken as long, but I had to pick up all the feathers he took into the living room that I hadn't noticed when I
Oh,
saw the feather
no.
incident the first time. So, Jesus Christ, dog.
Well, at least you know that when Cass takes him out bird hunting, he'll know what to go for.
He's got fucking problems, that one.
Yeah, he's a pup.
He is. He's a year old now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw a picture Lucy posted of Beaker. He's getting so big.
He's so big.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to be that big. The upside is I don't think that Copper is getting any bigger, so he's officially my smallest dog at like 45 pounds.
That's not bad.
So he just has no manners.
You've got enough collective dog in that house that you don't need another big dog.
True. Yeah, on the daily, Cass is like, aren't you glad that Harley never got her full potential size because she's a part Great Dane? Like, yeah. Yep.
Yep. That's how big dog.
Yeah.
So
All right. So,
so
we
yeah, we're
got it
just
lit.
building the fire and like banking the coals and keeping them hot and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
Colton, come quick! We've lit the forge.
You just hear him go, "Nah, I'm good, thanks."
Put that smut down and come appreciate this.
I'm good.
All right. There's no impressing that boy.
He just gives no shits. Fucking millennial.
God, it's like being back at work.
What? So after a couple hours of working, just being excited the forge is lit, getting some small stuff done,
Yep.
just being happy to see things running smoothly.
Yeah, like
You
taking
see,
some coals from the kiln to the or from the forge to the kiln to get that warmed up as well. Just
Hmm.
tedious shit.
You see two people in like very elaborate, fancy robes walking toward the forge.
All right, he'll greet them at the entrance. Good day to you. Come in, come in.
And they're both elves, and the male of the pair just says, "And you might be
Oh, my name's Torgud Grumblestone at your service.
Torgud," and he looks you over and
I'm
kind of
grubby as shit,
takes you
covered in
all in.
soot.
And the woman goes, looks at the her husband and just kind of gives him this look of like, "Be nice."
I'll
And
give them both like a bow, recognizing that these are.
she goes, "No, no, don't do that.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
It's fine." And you get the feeling that he is the one that was born into the family and was he's the one that carries the Azana name, and that she was not always as well to do and married into it. She seems a little more down to earth. She doesn't seem to care that it's gross in here, or not gross because you clean, but it's a
Yeah,
forge.
it's smoky. I'm
Yeah.
covered in soot. I and who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
And she kind of tilts her head to you and she says, "My name's Asen. This is my husband, Simber. We own the forge that you lit. How did you do that, by the way?"
Well, I had a bit of help, and I'll gesture towards Sarah. She's cleaned it up, and beyond my. I mean, how do you shine dirt? I don't get it. But I
Ancient
first I
Chinese
tried
secret. Sorry.
first I tried sparking some tinder that wouldn't take, and then I even used some magical means with my dagger here, and that didn't take. So I just knelt before the anvil, and I prayed to Rorks, and he granted me the gift of fire for this forge. I noticed the holy symbol over there, and I'll point to the back wall where I saw that symbol.
When you say that you prayed for it, she looks at her husband and she goes, "You don't say." And her facial expression is that of, "I told you so."
I it's I'm still a bit new to the order, but I have faith in Rorks and his gifts, and he blessed this forge to be lit.
And Simber just kind of looks at you and he looks around and he says, "So, are you planning to stay in Thessalian? Or are you a traveler passing through like the rest of our visitors?"
Well, I had come here seeking a place to live, and I had hoped that if I could ply my trade here, I might stay here on a permanent basis. And seeing that you don't have a blacksmith, I don't want to presume, but I'd be indebted to you if you allowed me to continue here.
Well, if you're willing to take on the responsibility of not only the blacksmith, but tending a temple, Rorks, we'd let you stay. There are a
I
few houses that I'm sure are free.
houses, you say?
Hmm.
That's a that's a mighty gift there. I would be deeply indebted to you if you would honor me so.
Well, there's one across the way. There's one even closer, and he kind of leans around to look, and you can see that where the forge sticks out from the mountainside, and there's a little pathway that you didn't notice before because Colton had his little shack built there.
Mm,
But there's a small, like, one room little cottage back there,
okay,
just kind of squared away.
so
And he looks over and he goes, "That one technically comes with the forge."
that would be more than enough. You're too kind.
It's not a kindness. We would actually be indebted to you. And Asen looks at you and goes, "Yes, part of our responsibility is finding someone to replace us, and unfortunately, that's been harder to do than we anticipated." And you kind of read between the lines that they're the natural order of things is that were meant to produce an heir, but they haven't been able to do that, and neither of them has really wanted to put the effort into finding a replacement that's not related to them, because it's kind of making that an active search is a way of like quitting. It feels like quitting.
Right.
It's like, well, if we do that, we're saying that's never going to happen. So
I can
you
see like
showing up is kind of divine intervention from their perspective.
all right. So I'll be like, I understand, and just kind of give them like a nod of acknowledgement towards what they're getting at without being like, so you're shooting blanks, eh?
Without being like, Mom, Dad.
Just say, I'd be honored to take this position and do what I can for the good of Thessalian.
It would also be a responsibility off of our hands, which would help us greatly.
I'm sure you have a lot of things to keep you busy as it is. You don't need to be pounding out horseshoes and tools and nails all day.
And they just kind of look over, and you can see past them that Penelope and Hax are both kind of leaning out their door. And when the elves look past, they just kind of duck back in. Like, you get the feeling that the
Penelope
people,
ducks back in trying to be subtle, but there's still this
yeah,
from her fucking door.
you get the feeling that most of the people that run the city do so without coming down into the city very much.
Sure. All right. Like so, rare visit, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd as I said, I'd be honored to do this for you and be your blacksmith. I'll just need access to metals and the essentials to run this place. I can make most anything I need, but I still need the materials to do so.
And she just kind of nods and waves like this over her shoulder, and you see one of the guards walk up, and she looks at him and she says, "Make sure he has what he needs." And she introduces him uh, as a name I can't find right now, but I'll find.
Bard, the guardsman.
Bard Guardsman. That Bard Guardsman is his legal name. He just happens to also be a guardsman. Um, but he will basically work as your liaison to communicate through the to them, because they don't have sole authority to give you permission to use the teleportation circle to get up there.
Sure.
So he will help you communicate with them and make sure that you have what you need. There is a lot of trade in and out of the city, so they'll make sure that if there is anyone that can bring you what you need, they'll hook that up. Uh,
All right.
Basically, you have a way to set up whatever you need to set up at this point.
Okay. So I'm sure it takes some time before he can start getting in just
Yeah.
essential
He's just got to
things.
get with some of the caravans and be like, hey, if you can bring this stuff in.
All right. Like so. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. And then
Got a job.
later in the day, you get official paperwork with official seals and everything that say that you, as long as you are manning the forge, the house attached to it belongs to you, and that's your property, and you can kick Colton off of it if you want, and
All right.
all
Do I
that
get
fun stuff.
tax-free status as being a religious order?
Sure.
All right.
Considering that part of the temple arrangement is that necessities aren't paid
Hmm.
for as far as like
Just the day-to-day running.
yeah, like
All right.
if something has to be done, they'll pay for the materials, but not necessarily for the work as part of the temple. Then yeah,
Okay.
the tax-free status makes sense.
All right. So yeah, he'll at some point, go around with his incense and censer and like bless the place,
Bless
you know,
everything.
all that kind of thing. And
Get to know everybody.
yep, start making hinges and what have you.
And by
At
the
some point, I'm
time
gonna go split wood too because I said I would. So
and then by the time everybody else on the party makes their way here, you are well established as the owner and proprietor of this forge.
awesome.
And basically, by the time we play our first group game, you're the NPC. You just
Nice.
happen to also be a player for all intents and purposes.
I'm sure I annoy the shit out of Colton because, like, I don't want to just turn him out.
I feel like after a couple weeks there would be like an arrangement that if he's going to sell things on your property, he's only going to sell stuff you make and you set the prices. He's just like
I'm trying to
he's
kind
a
of take
sales associate for you, basically.
him under my wing a little bit. You see, boy, the edge on this thing and this kind of metal, and look at the quality, and just like really trying to get through to him,
He's
but being like,
playing whatever the medieval equivalent of a Game Boy is while you're saying this.
yeah, he's just texting.
He's got one of those cup and string things he's just really into.
So finally, I'll just be like, all right, this is the price, no lower. If anybody has any serious questions, send them to me. I'll take care of it.
All right. Because from his perspective, he's like, I don't have to leave and go get shit and come back like this.
This is you just if I'm busy or whatever, you run the shop. We'll set up like a little thing out front for just odds and ends tools and what have you, and just be like, yeah, we'll keep you here.
He's on board with that arrangement.
Yeah, it's somebody's got to buy those books, and while I question your taste in novels, no judgment here.
Fair enough.
Maybe I'll borrow one from you one of these days.
Torgud reading the list you Argonian made.
Hey,
Yes.
he's probably got stories that will make Colton blush.
The best.
So,
Yep,
all
yep, yep.
right.
And after, because I'm planning on having everybody come in after you've been there for a few years, so
Yeah.
after about a year of living in Thessalian, you come to realize that the people that are officially in charge of this place don't run as much as Talon, who is the woman at the Fox's Folly.
Okay.
That it seems like whenever someone has an actual problem, they come to her before they come to anyone else, and it's
All right.
usually taken care of before it goes higher up the chain.
Just kind of.
And the one or two times there has been a quote unquote ruckus in the town, it's been taken care of without a word and never really gets any higher up to the people in charge.
Okay. So, and over the course of years, like he's been writing to his sister that lives back somewhere.
Probably.
um, uh, outside of Westrune in the Dividing Plains. So his sister, Kelishan, even though like he never gets mail returned, like he sends them a stipend and just like a little bit here and there, and kind of just writes about like I've started working this
I found
forge.
my
I'm a
place.
priest. Like I've left my life of soldiering behind. This is where I'm at, and I'm I'd love to hear from you guys, etc. But they just never write back.
Aw, they don't love him?
They didn't approve of what the bloody boars turned into.
It's called forgiveness, bitches.
That's what he's trying for. Like, hey, I'm on this path. I'm, a priest now and a blacksmith and trying to gather a small following here for this temple while also, just helping the city run better. If you guys ever come to visit, bring bread and watch your step. Like,
Bring bread. And don't be alarmed by the bird that talks to you because it's actually a person.
yeah, so that's been his thing. So he kind of, and he's got kind of a journal that he also writes in that he keeps his notes of blacksmith stuff and whatever orders, etc. But that's his day to day. It's like he works the forge all day, and then he'll go down to the Fox's Folly, or what was the inn called again?
The Valkyr's Rest.
Go down there and just like hang out and like make himself
Sarah will occasionally bring you lunch just to make sure you're eating because she's really worried about you.
He's definitely put on some pounds since living here, and he's also like he goes out of his way to help them when he can. Just typical. I'm a good citizen. I'm a member of the community thing.
And once the word gets out that you're staying and sticking around, people who have had stuff that they've just been kind of living with have come up to you like, hey, can you come fix this? Or we're having trouble with this, or
Yep.
just small things around.
Like at some point, like I'd like to find some of the other craftsmen around, like woodworkers, etc., and see like, hey, we can start doing this, providing these services. Like I'm not good at woodwork, but I can make you guys nails. Things you need. This place is inland, so there's not a port, but like, you know, so just trying to network and make it a very sustainable business. Like probably too much work for one guy, but
There's not an official woodworker, but in like the farm area, there are people that
okay,
do
yeah, I
that
figured
stuff.
as much. Like
Yeah.
old Jim the handyman comes around and needs some nails.
There it's literally a city that was built by druids.
Okay,
So
so
as
they
far
just
it's
regrow the wood if they
yeah,
need to. All right,
it's
but
they'll
like
do it they'll do what they can.
the all the tool work for the farmers, like get that in. Like, oh, you need a new plow blade, we got you. Just making himself indispensable basically, and kind of just busy, busy, busy.
And Talon would have had a bottle of Rourke's whiskey sent to you when the forge was opened as a like, hey, congrats, told you that would work.
After she does that, um, I'll spend some time and I'll make like a really nice balanced dagger, and I'll go down to the folly and give that to Hoos and be like, for the lady, she'll know it's from me, and it's got like a little blacksmith's hammer symbol in the hilt.
Nice.
Be like, for her kindness and her help and all she does, and also thanks for the whiskey.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, I mean it's nothing fancy. It's just a steel dagger.
It's the thought that counts.
It's a plus
I just
23.
like that Talon and Torgud have a working relationship.
Yep, it works. Like I think I've told you before. Like
I just like
even
that I
thieves
just
are
made a city for all my NPCs to live in.
exactly like and I liked that looking up Rourke's. It's like yeah, even thieves have a craft, so it's not like frowned upon. It's you're just like, yep, I can respect that. So,
And
yep,
she's not super thiefy. She's just because her backstory is the same as the one shot that you ran
yep,
of she lived here, she got run out of town, and then when she came back, she bought the Folly, and because it was like a burnt out building,
yeah,
and rebuilt it, and was like, okay, having lived here before, I know that the people upstairs aren't doing shit to keep this place nice, so I
yeah.
am.
They're very like distant, which is kind of surprising. Like
Hmm.
it's weird that this city functions, but I think it's more just out of the people are just decent people that aren't like down
It's
on everything.
it's one of those that when the city was created, it was very small, and the four houses that ran it were the four houses that built the city, so they were very invested in the city.
Right.
But as the generations passed, the families that are in charge of the city are like, well, the city's already established, it's already got its rules, it's already got this going for it. I'm not really having to do shit except have a name that makes me more important than everyone else here.
I see.
And
Okay.
they just kind of got complacent in that.
Yeah. Well, now they've got the steel industry.
Now they've got the steel industry and a underground thief network that
Yep.
runs things.
There's just going to be
That
nothing but.
Torgud may or may not be introduced to. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not something he would seek out, but also like he's not gonna be like those damn thieves.
His the forge is next to um basically like the jail
Okay.
and also near Leather and Lace. So just for funsies, roll a perception check.
All right.
This is a general over the years if you've noticed something check that I'm just pulling out of my ass right now. So
All those thieves are wearing lingerie.
yes. So
All right.
weird.
That's a natural 18.
Okay. He has noticed that sometimes he'll see a prisoner be taken into the jail, and then late at night he'll see that same person walk out of Leather and Lace, but he didn't see them walk out of the jail, and he's not sure how that happens exactly,
Hmm.
but it's a little weird. And he kind of hears the guards talking about how, oh yeah, that prisoner escaped, but like, I mean, we arrested him for like pickpocketing, so he didn't even get anything. It's not a big deal.
Is Leather and Lace also backed up to this like cliff face?
Leather and Lace is backed up to an interior wall. It's not backed up to the cliff face, but
Okay.
it is built against a wall.
All right. So yeah, he's not gonna ask too many questions. Like it's not my business. It's theirs.
Being being a dwarf and understanding mountains, he probably assumes there's a tunnel of some kind somewhere.
Yeah, he's just like, yep. But I don't need to pry into their business. Not here to make trouble.
Don't
They're
he
good.
just watches it happen and is like, don't need to know?
The hinges inside that secret tunnel are a lot better than the front door.
Mm-hmm.
I've replaced those at some point because I'm sure in the middle of the night hearing eh, is probably not the most subtle way to sneak a
The
prisoner.
first time someone tries to sneak out, Penelope's like, no, don't open that door.
Go out the window.
And then one of the first people that Torgud would probably meet would be Dory, which is a tabaxi, who lives in the non-denominational temple that covers all the deities that aren't the main four.
You have to listen to Glass Cannon. I swear to God.
Maybe there is a log deity in there, who knows?
So in
But
Glass,
Dory's basically Buddhist.
okay. So in Glass Cannon at one point, I think it's on the episode 100 stuff. They go to this town and there's the non-denominational church, and it's like, I'm sorry, let me turn down this rap music. I really like the hip hop. And then he like sits backwards on his chair and he's like, so what's going on? You want to just what can I help you?
Yeah, it's not that, thankfully. It's literally the non-denominational is there are four main deities that are worshipped here. And then there's Callistra, which is basically the deity of all the thieves and the brothels. So
Oh,
it's probably the most worshipped in the city,
yeah,
but
lots of sex happening, huh?
it's one of the old gods. So it's one that's, and I say old gods because quote unquote it's a Pathfinder god, not a 5e god.
Sure.
Um but the non-denominational temple has basically when you walk in it's an empty room and it has every deity symbol you can imagine painted on the walls. And
Okay.
they're kind of categorized by like one wall has all the lawful good deities, one has all the like it's basically if it exists, it's in there.
All right. So I'm sure at some point he's gone down there just to like establish some Rourke's presence and be like, anything I can help you with as far as worship goes, you just give me a holler, do what I can, and I'll probably write back to like one of the bigger temples to Rourke's in one of the other cities and just let them know that I've set up here and because he's not high up, but it's like, all right,
Yeah.
I need to know like
They've
what I need to
established a
be doing.
thing.
Yep. By the way, you've got a foothold here, so good luck finding it, but you know where to write to at least.
Occasionally, people from the Devil's Playground might ask you to forge some manacles and stuff.
Yep. Be like, I'll run a deal with hacks to like get some fuzzy ones, and
Yeah,
and with Penelope to get some weird
some leather ones.
leather works with metal rings and what have you.
The leather and lace does make most of the stuff for the Devil's Playground. So
It's just kind of like an ongoing like, well, never thought I'd be doing
I,
this, but here we
so
go.
my regret in making the Devil's Playground exist, because I just thought it would be a fun thing to do, is like I feel like Justin's gonna be there a
Yeah,
lot. So when he made a paladin, I'm like, okay, good. Maybe he won't, or maybe he will.
what cracks me up is like after my parents had sold their restaurant, like my grandma worked with us for a long time.
I'm also
Yeah.
gonna stop broadcasting us
Oh, fair.
because I'm sure everybody's stopped watching 3 hours ago when we started talking about how we have to rebuild a forge. But
Exactly. So